Immortal Family Cultivation, I am the reincarnation of a great ancestor. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1, The Yan family's ancestor passes away. Emperor Bai Weichang makes a will. Daqian Dynasty, Beatty City. As the largest force in Beatty City, the Yan family can be said to be able to cover the sky with one hand. At this time, in the Yan family compound, there is a small attic with red walls and green tiles and a quiet atmosphere. In the attic is an old man with white hair and a sense of decadence. Yan Ping sits in a wooden wheelchair, his eyebrows and eyes are closed, as if he is in deep thought. His face with ravines and gullies is calm, without sadness or joy. Perhaps it is not far from his life limit, and all kinds of memories here keep coming to his mind. Yan Ping is a traverser from Blue Star. In his previous life, he was just an unknown low-level worker. After coming to this world of cultivation, he was lucky to have spiritual roots from a mortal family, so he devoted himself to the path of seeking immortality. Unfortunately, he is not like other traversers, who have a system golden finger, and his qualifications are mediocre. Although he has broken through the foundation building realm and become a cultivator who can live without worldly fireworks, his upper limit is only this. When Yan Ping was 100 years old, he was seriously injured in a battle for natural treasures. He suffered from a hidden disease and could not make any progress in his cultivation. Disheartened, he came to Beatty City to marry and have children and establish a family. Another 100 years later, under the leadership of Yan Ping, a cultivator in the middle stage of foundation building, the Yan family gradually prospered and became a large family in Beatty City and even the entire Yingzhou. Recalling this, the door behind Yan Ping opened, and several old men and middle-aged men entered the room. Dad, Yan Ping's second son Yan Zhongmao looked sad. As soon as he received the message from his father, he rushed over with the senior members of the Yan family, all of whom were Yan Ping's descendants. Yan Ping had a total of 4 children. The eldest, Bo Wei, died in a battle to protect his family. The old Sijixia was immortal. The second, Zhongmao, had a low cultivation level but was smart and good at planning, and was responsible for the internal affairs. The third, Shu Lin, was already at the 9th level of key training, and was responsible for the external affairs. Although the letter did not mention anything, Yan Zhongmao knew that the pillar of the Yan family was about to collapse. Hearing the child's call, Yan Ping opened his eyes. His eyes were bright, not colorless. He said, "Are you here?" "Well, I should be dying soon, Dad, Grandpa." Faced with this affirmative reply, the senior members of the Yan family could no longer suppress their emotions and burst into tears. "Compared to me, you should be more worried about yourselves. Once I leave, cough cough cough, there will be no foundation building cultivators guarding the family. The surrounding forces will take advantage of the situation and the Yan family will suffer a devastating disaster." Yan Ping's voice was powerful and unaffected by others. "Dad, I am unfilial and cannot share your worries. From now on, I can only withdraw the family's tentacles, keep a low profile, and bide my time," Yan Zhongmao said in a low voice, with tears in his eyes. "Zhongmao, with your wisdom, you should have thought of the best way to deal with it, but you didn't say it." "Then I will come up with it myself," Yan Ping sighed and continued, "After my death, the funeral will not be announced. Ahem. The family will still act as usual until this second foundation building cultivator appears in the family. At the same time, I have a puppet with part of my soul and spiritual consciousness sealed in it. Ordinary cultivators in the early stage of foundation building cannot distinguish the true from the false. Occasionally letting it show its face can also deter the villains. In this way, ahem, within 5 years, my Yan family will be worry-free. In these 5 years, you must create a foundation building cultivator." After Yan Ping finished speaking, his wrinkled hands trembled as he took out an exquisite puppet from the Kyankan bag on his waist. The puppet's appearance and demeanor were exactly the same as his own. Even his biological descendants could not tell the difference. As soon as this action was made, the originally slightly calm atmosphere dropped to the extreme again, and the surroundings continued to sob and murmur. Filial piety is the most important virtue. It is more difficult to ask the Yan family not to hold Yan Ping's funeral than to kill them. But this has to be done, otherwise, when other forces come to attack, it will only add to the sorrow. "Hey, this is the last thing I can do for you unfilial sons," Yan Ping's calm expression finally showed a trace of sadness. Then, Yan Ping looked at a tall and strong man behind Hong Mao and said, "Zhuang Su, hasn't Renming always wanted to enter Hengshui sect and see the world? Ahem, I agree to this, and the family will fully support this matter in the future, and strive to let Renming build his foundation as soon as possible." "Grandpa, this," Yan Zhuangsu said in a muffled voice. Yan Renming is the son of Yan Zhuangsu and the grandson of Yan Hong Mao. He is 17 years old. He is born with dual spiritual roots of water and fire and has outstanding talent. Yan Ping trains him as a successor. He did not let him join his sect before because he was worried that Yan Renming would be alienated from the family. Now is the moment of life and death for the family. He becomes a disciple of Hengshui sect, and the Yan family can be regarded as having a backer. Because of the influence of the memory of the previous life, Yan Ping did not arrange the generation name at the beginning, and almost named whatever he thought of. After the family grew, he realized to start using generation names to prevent the confusion of generations. Renji's heroic spirit is happy to offer auspiciousness, and the green mountains and beautiful waters celebrate together. The blessing vein will continue to pass on the divine ritual, and the prosperous age should be celebrated in Wanshao. The Ren generation is Yan Ping's great-grandson, and the fourth generation of the Yan family. Also, Xiaolin, your son Yan Su, who is humble on the outside and arrogant on the inside, has talents but is not up to the task. Remember not to hand over the affairs of Black Mountain City that you are in charge of to him." After speaking to Yan Zhuangsu, Yan Ping looked at his third son Yan Xiaolin and said solemnly, "Yan Su is the grandson of Yan Ping. He has 3 spiritual roots, gold, wood, and earth. He is at the 7th level of key training. He has been fond of reading secular military strategy since he was a child. He and his father manage the Yan family's secondary city, Black Mountain City. Because of his good organization, he is often praised by the clan members." "Yes, Dad, okay, you guys go down first," Yuxi stayed. The descendants retreated, and only a mature woman stayed with Yan Ping. Liu Yuxi, 46 years old this year, has no husband. Although she has 4 spiritual roots, she has a special spiritual body, which makes her cultivation progress rapidly, with almost no bottleneck. Even though she has been practicing for a short time, she has already become a cultivator at the 8th level of key training. She is the person in the Yan family who has the best chance of advancing to the foundation building stage at this stage. Yan Ping treats her like his own daughter. Looking at the woman with tearful eyes, Yan Ping sighed and said, "Yuxi, when your master picked you up, you were only 8 years old, and now you are so old. Ahem, your master knows that those children and grandchildren have excluded you to some extent, and you have also made contributions to my Yan family. Our previous kindness is also offset. After I die, if you want to leave, then leave." As soon as the voice fell, the woman's face changed drastically, and she knelt down and cried in a hurry. Without the master, Yuxi would have died of famine and man-made disasters, not to mention the current cultivation and courage. The master has the grace of recreating Yuxi. How can I forget this grace? Not to mention that Yuxi has regarded herself as a member of the Yan family. "Hey, child, the Yan family will work hard for you in the future." Yan Ping sighed again, and then there was no more words. The next day, on June 22nd, the 969th year of the Daqian calendar, the ancestor of the Yan family, Yan Ping, passed away at home. He was 199 years old, in the process of evaluating the spring and autumn system. Name, Yan Ping. Age, 199. Cultivation, mid-stage foundation building. Family rating, B+. Establishing a family, multiplying descendants, consolidating power, and making the Yan family a well-known immortal cultivation family. Awards, inheritance of cultivation, can quickly restore to the previous life's cultivation in the next life. Hengshui spirit body, the power of water-based exercises is greatly increased. Alchemy talent, has excellent alchemy potential. Family power growth, the average qualifications of the 7th generation of the Yan family have been moderately improved. Identity in the next life, Yan Lingyu, the 7th generation of the Yan family. Reincarnation and progress, newcomer and new book. If you like it, please read it and collect it, and thank you. Chapter 2, Reincarnation of Yan Lingyu, the 100 years of history of the Yan family. In the year 1069 of the Daqian calendar, in Beatty City, Yan's family. In the side courtyard, there was a loud clang and the basin fell, spilling water. A young man about 16 years old, wearing a crown, with sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes, stood there in a daze, looking incredible. Yan Lingyu? System? Reincarnation, Yan Ping, or Yan Lingyu, felt chaotic and bizarre for a moment. He was still a decaying old man in the last moment, but turned into a lively young man in the next second. This sudden change is difficult to adapt to in a short time. I should have just revived my memories of my previous life. Yan Ping is me, and Yan Lingyu is also me. Sui's a Chunq system? I didn't expect the system to appear after my death, but it's not too late, and the spirit body and alchemy talent are very important for cultivation. After 3 lives, Yan Lingyu quickly accepted the current situation and muttered to himself. Although his immortal path in his previous life was half destroyed and he died in depression, he still had a seed of wanting to seek immortality in his heart. So now that he has the opportunity, he is naturally happy from the heart. How? This system allows me to reincarnate with my memories, so I can be considered immortal. This is what many cultivators of the refining void and the Hideo dream of. Even immortals can only reincarnate. It's worthy of being the starting point. Goldfinger. It's so powerful. Yan Lingyu continued to ponder. According to the system, as long as the family is there, I can reincarnate infinitely. At the same time, the greater my contribution to the family, the more I will gain after reincarnation. In short, I want to make the family as powerful as possible. This is the family I founded. The members of the family are my descendants. Even if there is no such system, I will do the same. It fits my heart. It can not only make oneself stronger, but also accompany and witness the strength of the family. This is the ultimate wish of life. By the way, 100 years have passed. How has my Yan family developed? How many foundation-building cultivators are there? Are there any people I know? Yan Lingyu picked up the basin that fell to the ground while searching for the memory of this life. Slowly, his brows frowned. In the 969th year of the Dacian calendar, Yan Ping passed away, but because of the arrangements made in advance and the residual power left, the Yan family lived in peace for 5 years. In the 974th year of the Dacian calendar, Yan Renming was promoted to the Hengshui sect, and the Yan family climbed up the mountain, which made its position in Yingzhou more consolidated. However, the lack of a foundation-building cultivator was still a knot on the hearts of the Yan family's top leaders. The turning point came in the 981st year of the Dacian calendar. In the 12th year after Yan Ping's death, Liu Yuxi, a disciple of Yan Ping, broke through the foundation-building stage at the age of less than 60, so that the Yan family had a foundation-building cultivator again. That year, Liu Yuxi did not hold a foundation-building conference, but held Yan Ping's funeral first. She personally wore mourning clothes and observed mourning for half a month. It was also at this time that the other forces in Yingzhou were convinced that Yan Ping, the first person in Yingzhou and the ancestor of the Yan family, had passed away, and many high-level figures regretted it. Zhang Jingzhong, the head of the Zhang family, even said in admiration, "A dead man has frightened me for 10 whole years." 20 years later, Yan Renming, who entered the Hengshui sect, also broke through the shackles and became a foundation-building cultivator. The Yan family had 2 foundation-building cultivators, and its momentum reached its peak again. However, the prosperity of the Yan family has taken a sharp turn for the worse since then. First, Yan Ping's grandson, Yan Su, failed to defend well. Facing the beast tide, he misjudged the enemy in us, and let thousands of beasts rush into the Black Mountain city, destroying the Black Mountain mine vein, and depriving the Yan family of a large source of spiritual stones. Then, Yan Renming's father, Yan Zhuangsu, passed away, and the first, second, and third generations of the Yan family all died, breaking the bond between Yan Renming and the Yan family. Although he was a member of the Yan family, he was a member of the Hengshui sect and almost no longer provided help to the family. Even the outside world knew that the Yan family actually had only one foundation-building cultivator, Liu Yuxi. Later, the other forces in Yingzhou also made efforts one after another, and all of them had clansmen promoted to the foundation-building realm. The Zhang family even had 3 foundation-building cultivators. In just 60 years, the Yan family went from occupying 3 of the 8 cities in Yingzhou to being able to defend Beatty City alone. Their prestige has plummeted. What's more serious is that the forces in Yingzhou, led by the Zhang family, have been trying to annex the Yan family. Alice, what I worried about has happened. I didn't expect that my Yan family would end up like this in just 200 years. Yan Lingyu had anticipated Yan Renming's change of heart, but she didn't expect it to happen so quickly. As for Yan Su's defeat of Heishan City, if Yan Shulin were still alive, he would have been scolded to death. It's a pity that my Yuxi has to support such a large family alone. As a person who has experienced it, I deeply understand the hardships. It's a pity that my current identity cannot be exposed. If people know that I can reincarnate, the Yan family will be overthrown. I am only the 7th generation descendant of the Yan family now. Yan Lingyu, let's think about improving our own cultivation first. With a cultivation inheritance, I will definitely build a foundation within 15 years, deal with this difficult time, and then reorganize the family. Yan Lingyu's eyes were very firm. At the same time, he also had a sense of urgency. Shaking up his spirits, Yan Lingyu brought a basin to the wellhead, filled a basin with water, and then walked towards his own hut with heavy steps. The breeze blew in the yard, sweeping down a few dead leaves, revealing the tender green buds underneath. Ninth brother, are you in there? Just as Yan Lingyu walked into the house, a clear and loud female voice came from outside the yard. Before he could react, the person came in unrestrainedly. Ninth brother, you are here. Yan Lingyu looked over and saw a beautiful girl, half a head taller than him, with beautiful black hair draped over her shoulders, blue eyes and pink lips, very pretty. She was wearing a light blue short shirt that fit her body tightly, showing her delicate body that was about to bloom to the fullest. Yan Lingyu, the 7th of the 7 generations of descendants of the Yan family, is 1 year older than Yan Lingyu and is the latter's sister. Sister Kiki, what's the matter? Yan Lingyu's voice was a little awkward. With his experience, he had to call such a young girl his granddaughter, but now he had to call her brother and sister, and he was a little confused for a moment. Oh, my good brother, why are you so reserved? Where is your silly look before? Hurry up and change back to me. Yan Lingyu frowned, her lips slightly curled, and she looked unhappy. Yan Lingyu was startled, worried that the other party would see the clues, but she didn't care about it. She threw herself into the girl's arms according to her memory, surrounded by waves of fragrance and softness. 7th sister, am I not worried about being seen by others? If this gets out, I will lose face. A helpless voice burst out from Yan Lingyu's mouth. Pump, what face? My Lingyu is the cutest. What's wrong with a sister doting on her brother? It's natural. Whoever dares to talk nonsense, see how I will deal with him. Maybe the boy was just shorter, so it was very easy to touch his head. Yan Lingyu muttered while stroking the top of the former's head with her delicate jade hands, with a smile on her pretty face, just like a big sister next door. After caressing for a while, Yan Lingyu was finally satisfied and said, by the way, 5th Grandpa is opening an alchemy class today and wants us young people to learn. It seems that the family is in urgent need of an alchemist. 5th Grandpa, Yan Jidao, the 5th generation descendant of the Yan family, is 69 years old and has reached the 7th level of key training. He is one of the 2 alchemists of the Yan family and the head of the Yan family's alchemy hall. Speaking of alchemy, Yan Lingyu remembered the outstanding alchemy talent given by the system. If he could become an alchemy master, he would be able to make better contributions to the family. Then why have the Zhang family members broken through the foundation in recent years? It is because there is an alchemy master in their family. 7th sister, stop hugging me. Let's go quickly. I'm afraid if I go too late, 5th Grandpa will be angry. Chapter 3, Zhang family monopolizes elixirs. Wu Yi appears to make elixirs. 9th brother, why do you walk with your hands behind your waist? Who did you learn this from? Did you learn it from 6th master? Yan Lingyu heard a chuckle in her ears, and she quickly adjusted her posture and said, no, 7th sister, you are seeing things wrong. Here, we are at the Dan Hall, while chatting and laughing, Yan Lingyu and Yan Lingyu, the 2 siblings, have arrived at their destination. The Yan family Dan Hall does not look very high from the outside, and is surrounded by dense forests, so only a corner of the front can be seen. As the central building of the Yan family, it is not as magnificent and high-end as imagined, but is built of brown-gray pine wood. It looks antique, quiet and peaceful, and you can smell a strong aroma of medicinal materials when you get close. This Dan Hall was originally a small broken courtyard, but now it has a proper appearance. Things and people have changed. Yan Lingyu sighed silently in her heart. When she stepped into the Dan Hall, the main hall was bustling with people, and young boys and girls, either alone or gathered together, made the originally quiet Dan Hall particularly lively. Yan Lingyu looked around, and saw that they were all descendants of the Yan family for 7 generations. Except for the eldest sister and the second sister, everyone else was here, a total of 12 people. Only the clan members with spiritual roots would be kept in the main family, and the rest of the mortals would be sent to the secular world to take care of the housework. Like Yan Lingyu, his parents were mortals, and his ancestor was the lineage of Yan Jixu. After 6 generations, a cultivator was born. It can be seen how difficult it is to become a cultivator. In each generation of the Yan family before, only 7 or 8 people could produce spiritual roots, but this 7th generation had a big explosion, doubling. No wonder the Zhang family wanted to suppress the Yan family. Is this the effect of the reward family power growth? Yan Lingyu looked at the scene in front of him and murmured. 7th sister, 9th brother, 7th sister, 9th brother, 3rd brother, 11th brother. With the arrival of new people, the daily greetings came one after another. Because the 5th grandfather Yan Jidao had not arrived yet, the atmosphere in the alchemy hall was quite lively, and everyone was chatting with each other. After all, it was rare for brothers and sisters to gather together like today, and everyone was usually scattered all over the family. The Zhang family is too much. Suddenly, a deep voice exploded in the crowd. Yan Lingyu looked in the direction of the voice and saw that it was the 4th brother Yan Lingzhang. The other party was very tall, strong and mature. He was obviously only 19, but he looked like 39. At this time, Yan Lingzhang was talking to the 5th and 6th brothers beside him with an angry look on his face. Of course, he didn't realize that the attention of the people around him had been drawn to him. Yan Lingzhang waved his arms with veins exposed, and continued, the Zhang family actually joined forces with the Bai family and the Tiger sect to block the supply of elixirs to our Yan family. If we want to take elixirs in the future, we can only buy and sell them in the neighboring states and counties, except for our own production. The cost has increased by more than 30%. 4th brother, this is true. No wonder the family hastily held this alchemy meeting, just to select the alchemy talents in the family, and then train them to prevent the monopoly of elixirs in the future, the 5th brother Yan Lingyu said with his eyes wide open. Without the assistance of elixirs, it is more difficult to improve our cultivation. Without the support of high-level cultivators, the family will slowly decline. It seems that the Zhang family is still determined to destroy us, another young man shouted. Has the other party already forced me to this extent? No, I must become an alchemist to relieve the worries of the family. That's right, after becoming an alchemist, we will conduct anti-monopoly and suppress the other party. 10th sister is right. As the 4th son Yan Lingzhang revealed all the bad things of the Zhang family, the 7 generations of the Yan family suddenly became emotional, filled with righteous indignation, and shared the same hatred of the enemy. Everyone vowed to become an alchemist. In the alchemy hall, the shouts continued, which made Yan Lingyu's eardrums hurt deeply. But he had a gratified smile on his face. Not bad, not bad. The children of my Yan family must have such spirit. The spirit of a family is the key to whether this family can be passed on. Therefore, Yan Lingyu, who as the ancestor of the Yan family in his previous life, was naturally satisfied with the scene in front of him. The backbone of his Yan family is still there. Ahem, what are you arguing about? I can hear your loud voice from a long distance. Lingzhang, take your seat and wait. Just as the noise was getting louder, a black-haired old man came into the Dan hall and forcibly suppressed the atmosphere. 5th grandfather, everyone followed in unison, and the Dan hall finally fell into silence. The man who came was the 5th generation disciple of the Yan family. 5th grandfather, Yan Ji said. Well, cough, cough. 5th grandfather wore a dark gray Taoist robe, slightly hunched over, stroking his back with his hand, and walked slowly towards the center of the Dan hall. As he walked, he closed one eye and scanned the teenagers with the other eye. This old guy is quite impressive. Seeing this scene, Yan Lingyu curled her lips silently. As 5th grandfather took his seat, the Dan learning meeting began immediately. Alchemy is actually divided into 4 steps, namely, collecting materials, burning medicine, forming and quenching. Today, we will mainly examine your alchemy talent, so we will focus on forming. Forming, in simple terms, is to condense spiritual materials of various shapes into pills so that the pills can be heated evenly during refining. How to form? There is no mold for you to use. When refining pills, you can only use the cultivator's own magic power in the furnace fire to slowly form pills. This is a great test of the alchemist's skills, because even if there is any unevenness, it will affect the subsequent quenching part, and there must be no carelessness. So, whether a person has alchemy talent depends on how well he does forming. The fifth master talked freely, and his 7 generations of descendants listened attentively. As for Yan Lingyu, he fell into memories. In his previous life, when he was still young, he also found someone to learn alchemy, but just this step of forming took him 3 months. There are some things that Wu Yi didn't say clearly. In fact, the step of quenching is hundreds or thousands of times more difficult than gathering. It can be said that gathering is just the foundation of the foundation in alchemy. People who are stumped by gathering basically say goodbye to alchemy. Okay, after saying so much, I will now show you how to gather. The old man raised his beard, took out a small emerald green tripod, and a handful of crystal clear spiritual material slag, the semi-finished product of the elixir after burning medicine, and was about to start gathering. Wu Yi's true energy was released, completely wrapped the spiritual material slag, and transported it to the emerald green tripod, and then he cast a spell, and flames rose from the bottom of the tripod. It can be seen that the spiritual material slag was slowly melted by the high temperature in the small tripod, and with a drag of the true energy, it kept spinning in the air. Soon the spiritual material slag was completely fused into a whole. Wu Yi cast another spiritual spell to reduce the fire and start to shape. The elixir that had taken shape was still spinning. As Wu Yi continued to refine, an alluring fragrance spread, and the semi-finished pill-shaped pill was completed. This little guy has something. He completed the gathering in less than half a cup of tea. Not bad, not bad. Yan Lingyu in the back gently nodded to Wu Yi's forehead, and decided to bury the story of completing the gathering in a stick of incense in his previous life in his heart. At the same time, he was also curious about the alchemy talent given by the system. What kind of effect will the so-called excellent alchemy potential have? Let's wait and see. It looks quite simple. Yan Lingyu beside him suddenly spoke. Her words seemed to speak out the thoughts of all the 7 generations of disciples present. What's so difficult about this? Isn't it just adding fire and true energy? It seems that I will become an alchemist. Wu Yi took half a cup of tea, and even if I am not good enough, it will only take half an incense stick. For a moment, everyone was full of confidence. The 5th master, who had just completed the steps, did not say much. The corners of his mouth slightly raised, his eyes narrowed into a small slit, and he sent more than a dozen small tripods to everyone's chest. The small tripods contained spiritual material slag. He said faintly, I have finished the demonstration, and it is your turn next. Chapter 4, Alchemy Competition. Lingyu's talent is terrifying. In the main hall of the alchemy hall, as everyone lit a fire to make the elixir, the whole space became hot. The main hall seemed to have turned into a huge furnace, with layers of heat waves flowing everywhere. The passion of the young people to make the elixir was also in full swing. Yan Lingyu, who was sitting in the corner, was not like his other brothers and sisters. He did not start working as soon as he got the materials. Instead, he looked at the small tripod and the spiritual materials in front of him. In his previous life, he was a foundation-building cultivator. Although he could not make elixirs, he had seen pigs run even if he had not eaten pork. With his eyesight, he could naturally quickly distinguish what these things were and their prices. Black square tripod, Lingsu grass, fengming flower, water cleaning lotus seeds, yais oil. These are just the most basic materials for alchemy, but they are worth at least 2 spiritual stones. Every alchemist is a gold-spending cave, and a single practice will consume 2 spiritual stones. You have to know that in Yan Lingyu's previous life, when the mine in Black Mountain City was still there, the monthly salary of the cultivators below the 5th level of key training in the family was only 10 spirit stones, plus 5 key nourishing pills. Now that the family is not as powerful as before, the monthly salary of the clan members has naturally been reduced, from the original 10 spirit stones to 7, and the monthly key nourishing pill is 1 less than 100 years ago. Even so, the family finances are still stretched. Today, so many materials were taken out at one time to examine the alchemy talents of 7 generations. I think they were forced into a hurry by the Zhang family's monopoly on elixirs. Alchemy is a competition of family heritage. In the final analysis, the Yan family is still too shallow, with a total of only 300 years, and many resources were left over from the time of the ancestor Yan Ping. The Zhang family and the Bai family have a history of more than 500 years, and the family assets they have accumulated over the years are indeed not comparable to the Yan family. That is why when the Yan family encounters difficulties, every step they take is very difficult. The road ahead is long and arduous. Yan Lingyu sighed and began to make the elixir. He had made the elixir before in his previous life, so he was familiar with it this time. He set up the cauldron, performed the Minghuoju, heated the cauldron, put the ingredients in, and wrapped them with true qi. This series of actions was done in one go. The elixir making process began in an orderly manner. No, why does it feel so different from what I expected? As the elixir making process deepened, Yan Lingyu became suspicious. In his previous life, when he was doing the gathering step, he only felt bored, difficult, tired, and unable to concentrate. The feeling now was very different, replaced by smoothness and comfort, as if Yan Lingyu was not making the elixir, but playing a favorite online game. The strange feeling of not being able to notice the passage of time after being fully engaged appeared again. Not only that, Yan Lingyu also found that he was constantly overturning his original understanding of elixir making. Originally, he wanted to gather according to his experience in elixir making in his previous life. But he always stopped himself and then naturally made another move that he had never made before. It was as if an invisible hand was controlling him to make the elixir. Is this the excellent talent for alchemy? As the pill began to take shape, Yan Lingyu's eyes flashed with brilliance. He wanted to try to see how far he could go in this alchemy. He had a vague feeling that the result of his alchemy this time would be very shocking. Time passed, and a cup of tea had passed. Some of the tribesmen who were refining the elixir were nearing the end. Suddenly, there was a bang sound, and a small black cauldron rose into the air. Fortunately, there was a limit on the true key, otherwise it might have pierced the elixir hall. Fourth brother, are you refining the elixir or refining the weapon? Look at the power, it's almost catching up with my full strength attack. This movement naturally attracted the attention of others. Everyone knew that someone had failed in the alchemy. Among them, the fifth brother Yan Lingyu was the most quick-mouthed and laughed directly. The fourth brother Yan Lingzhang's face flushed, he scratched his head, and suddenly said, I didn't control the strength for a moment. Yan Lingfei, how did you make it? How dare you laugh at me? Facing the fourth brother's question, Yan Lingfei smiled mysteriously, took out the pill he made, and placed it in front of the former, showing off, a good pill, how about it, fourth brother? Do I have a talent for alchemy? Are you sure yours is a pill? Not a copper coin, just tell me if it's round or not. My skyrocket is still useful, but your broken thing is afraid that even a dog will shake its head if it is given to it. Yan Lingzhang looked at his cousin with contempt. With the failure of the first batch of refining, one after another people completed the gathering, but the results were not satisfactory. Old 8, I asked you to make an elixir. What is this hard, yellowish thing of yours? Ling Su, why is your elixir cracked? Sixth brother, how dare you say that? You must have grown an elixir on the cave. More and more people failed. Although everyone was talking and it looked lively, a dark cloud was hanging over the heads of all the 7 generations of the family. If the Yan family did not have a genuine talent for alchemy, then the future of their Yan family would not be easy. The fifth master Yan Ji, who was sitting upright, looked at the mess in front of him and smiled bitterly. A cultivator with a talent for alchemy is really rare, only 1 in 100, maybe the Yan family does not have that blessing. Just when he was disappointed, his heart suddenly moved, looked to the side, and stood up suddenly. Lingqing, good, it was the 7th generation 3rd master Yan Lingqing. He took out a pill from the cauldron. Although the pill still had obvious wrinkles, it was not far from being qualified. After all, this was Yan Lingqing's first time to refine pills. It was not easy to achieve such results. Third brother, you are awesome. Third brother, you are awesome. Third brother, you are a god. Joyful voices came one after another. However, at this moment, a faint and strange fragrance spread in the huge main hall. Wu Yi's smile froze on his face, and was replaced by incredible in an instant. He quickly searched for the source of the smell, and then quickly moved to the target. It was a handsome young man. He was looking down, staring at the crystal clear pill in the cauldron, a little dazed. Yan Lingyu was confused now. He had gathered the gathering well, and it was perfect. This was something to be proud of. Why did it make him stunned? The reason was that Yan Lingyu not only gathered, but also completed the next step of quenching by the way. What was in front of him now was not a semi-finished product, but a real pill. He recognized this pill, it was the key-nourishing pill. Lingyu, did you make this? Wu Yi stared at the somewhat unfamiliar young man, his old face solemn, his eyes bloodshot. Even though he was at the 6th level of key training, Wu Yi's body was trembling slightly, and his voice was obviously trembling, as if he was trying to suppress his emotions. Yan Lingyu was awakened, and at first he was so absorbed in refining the pill that he didn't notice the surrounding situation. At this time, Yan Lingyu was full of excitement and his face was flushed. At the same time, he tried to calm himself down and not be too exaggerated. Yan Lingyu moved his eyes to Wu Yi's hand, where was the semi-finished pill that Wu Yi had refined during his previous demonstration, and then said, "Yes," who with a heavy breath. Wu Yi followed Yan Lingyu's gaze and immediately understood what the latter meant. He wrapped the key-nourishing pill with his true key. In an instant, the key-nourishing pill disappeared. Then, Wu Yi held up the semi-finished product he had refined and showed it to all the 7 generations of the clan, saying happily, "Not bad, not bad, you can achieve this level in your first gathering. Lingyu, you have a talent for alchemy." Wu Yi looked happy, not like he was acting. At the same time, Yan Lingyu heard a serious voice in his heart. "Lingyu, don't say anything, come with me to see the elder of the Liu clan after the meeting. There are drafts and outlines in reserve, and they are updated steadily. Currently, there are 2 updates a day." Chapter 5, The Master and the Apprentice did not know each other in the previous life, and the talent in this life caused shock. "No, where's my 9th brother who is so old?" "9th brother? 9th brother?" The alchemy meeting ended. Just as Yan Lingyu was about to leave, she suddenly found that Yan Lingyu, who was supposed to be beside her, disappeared without a trace. The Yan family meeting room. The meeting room is not large, with red walls and green tiles. In a room in the room, a gorgeous woman was sitting in front of the documents, constantly scanning the various files in her hands. The woman looked about 50 years old, with almost no makeup on her face, and her face was worried. She had a head of silver hair tied on her head, which was simply tied with a wooden hairpin. Her eyebrows were tightly frowned, and there was no sign of them disappearing. In front of her were 2 old men standing respectfully. The 2 were Yan Jilian, the head of the contemporary family, and Yan Jikan, the head of the financial hall. And the woman was the current head of the Yan family, Liu Xi. Last month, the purchase of elixirs cost 800 lingxi, salaries cost 800 lingxi, refining tools cost 600 lingxi. The family's total expenditure was 3,202 lingxi, but the income was only 2,950 lingxi. Last month, there was a net loss of about 250 lingxi. The financial losses are getting bigger and bigger. Liu Xi looked at the report file, and the more he read, the more headache and helplessness he felt. "Elder Liu, according to my estimation, because of the Zhang family's monopoly on elixirs, the losses will increase by another 100 lingxi. Why don't we cut some salary expenditures?" said Yan Jite from the finance hall. In fact, cutting salaries does not have much impact on the younger generation. It is the older generation like them who suffer huge losses. But in front of the family, personal interests always come second. There is no point in frequently cutting salaries. Without income, it's useless to tighten your belts. The family treasury can still support it now. Let's find a way to open up channels to earn spirit stones first. Liu Xi shook her head and showed a wry smile. She continued, "Hey, of the 30,000 spirit stones left by the master, 20,000 have been spent. I'm afraid that I will be scolded in the underworld for my ability to squander the family. If only the Black Mountain mine was still there. This is also my fault. I was also present when the master made his will and used Jiansu lightly. If I had spoken out to stop him later, perhaps the Yan family would not have fallen into such a dilemma. By the way, how is the selection of clan members with alchemy talent by Ji Dao going?" Facing the inquiry of the clan elders, the head of the family, Yan Jilian, replied, "The results should be out soon. This 7th generation is a generation of talent. There are as many as 15 people with spiritual roots, and wise children are about to be born. By then, the Yan family may be able to add another cultivator. Master, please bless me and let my Yan family have a few more alchemists." The average increase in the qualifications of the 7 generations of the family is the only good thing that has happened in the Yan family in the past 10 years, Liu Xi prayed. As soon as she finished speaking, the movement outside the door attracted the attention of the 3 people in the room. "Clan Elder Liu. Clan Elder Liu," the voice came before the person arrived. Under the gaze of the 3 people, 5th Master Yan Jidao rushed in with a red face, and behind him, there was a handsome young man. The young man's indifferent appearance formed a sharp contrast with the excitement of the former, which was very eye-catching. For example, at this time, Liu Yuxi's eyes were first placed on the young man. She was a little stunned and thought to herself, Yan Lingyu? I have some impression of him, this posture with his hands behind his back and his calm attitude. I seem to see master. Looking at Jidao's appearance, the alchemist embryo should be the young man in front of him. The young man was Yan Lingyu. After the alchemy meeting, he was taken to the conference hall by fifth master. Liu Yuxi was paying attention to him, and he also noticed this disciple from his previous life. Although 100 years had passed, he still recognized him at a glance. Yuxi, you look haggard, Yan Lingyu sighed, his heart aching slightly, like a father who saw his daughter suffering. At this moment, he wanted to hug his child and give him some warmth, but he finally held back. His reincarnation identity could not be exposed. Yan Lingyu could only stand aside respectfully and wait for things to develop in an orderly manner. Jidao, how is the Zidane meeting going? Why did you bring Lingyu here? The head of the family asked the fifth master, who was speechless for a while. Wu Yi raised his head and said with joy, there are two people in the 7 generations who have the talent for alchemy. One is Yan Lingyu, and the other is him, Lingyu, Wu Yi said, turned around and pushed Yan Lingyu in front of him, and continued, elder, second brother, God bless my Yan family. Lingyu's alchemy talent is normal, but Lingyu's aptitude is a monster. Lingyu can refine a complete key-nourishing pill for the first time. As he said, Wu Yi took out a key-nourishing pill that he had hidden before and placed it in his palm. Until this time, Wu Yi's excitement had not subsided. His rough hands kept shaking. At the same time, his excitement began to spread at this moment. What? Key-nourishing pill? First time refining pills? Is this true? Liu Yuxi and the other two were shocked when they heard Wu Yi's words. They exclaimed in disbelief and carefully checked the key-nourishing pill in Wu Yi's hand. Yes, I am sure that the alchemy talent who can make a successful pill for the first time is guaranteed to be an alchemy master. If he is well trained, he can even become an alchemy master. As an alchemist, Wu Yi understood the significance of making a successful pill for the first time better than anyone else, and he kept explaining. Alchemy master. That is a high-level figure who can make golden pills. Even the Daqian royal family and King Shu Shangzong have to treat him with respect. Inviting an alchemy master to make a move, not to mention the material cost, the appearance fee alone will cost thousands of spirit stones. A alchemy master, as long as the resources are sufficient, can quickly raise a group of foundation-building cultivators. A small family can become glorious because of one person. The degree of surprise of the crowd was beyond words, and they all looked up and down at Yan Lingyu, the destined pillar of the Yan family in the future. What surprised them even more was that this young junior was the calmest among all the people present. This made the old generations feel a little ashamed. Calm and composed, unperturbed by praise or criticism. This is what a member of my Yan family should look like, Liu Yuxi exclaimed in admiration when she saw this. The younger generation named Yan Lingyu, the more she looked at him, the more she liked him. Even if he didn't have this terrifying alchemy talent, in her opinion, Yan Lingyu would definitely make a difference. Liu Yuxi saw the shadow of the man who founded the family in Yan Lingyu. After a brief moment of passion, Liu Yuxi finally calmed down and said solemnly, Jidao, who else knows about this? There are only 5 of us. Although all the members of the 7 generations of the family were present at the alchemy meeting, Lingyu reminded them that I used the cat to replace the prince, and what I showed was only the semi-finished product of the polymerization. They didn't know that Lingyu refined the finished product of the key-nourishing pill. 5th Master Yan Jidao replied. His words made the elders present look at Yan Lingyu with a new eye. Liu Yuxi nodded and continued, Jidao will spend an extra 200 spirit stones from the family treasury every month to support Lingyu and Linking in their alchemy practice. Yes, Jidao, thank you for your hard work. After you complete your daily alchemy tasks, you can spare time to teach Lingyu and strive to make him an alchemy master as soon as possible. It's not hard. Yan Jidao, I'm so happy to be able to share the family's worries, 5th Master replied solemnly. Jillian, spread Lingyu's talent. The more exaggerated the better. The Zhang family is suspicious. This move can blind their vision. Yes, Elder, Liu Yuxi kept issuing family orders. She understood that the turning point of the Yan family had arrived. As for Yan Lingyu, who was standing aside, although she could not intervene, she was very pleased and said to herself, my Yuxi has grown up. She has even inherited my wit and intelligence. Well, not bad, not bad. Chapter 6, Yan Lingyu's thoughts. Yan Lingyu's ambitions. Coming out of the conference hall, the sky was already dark. Yan Lingyu walked along the corridor towards his residence. The Yan family mansion was very large, and it took him some effort. When Yan Lingyu arrived at the door of his residence, he found that the lights in his house were bright, and there was a figure inside. Who is it? Yan Lingyu was a little confused. Because his parents died of illness when he was young, he lived alone in the master's house. He didn't expect that there would be a guest visiting the house today. Pushing the door open, Yan Lingyu was very familiar with the person in front of him. Seventh sister? Why are you here? The figure in the house was the seventh sister Yan Lingyu. At this time, the girl was lying on a wooden chair, shaking a strand of fine hair. Seeing Yan Lingyu coming, the former's eyes lit up, jumped up, and rushed to the other side, with a smile and question on his face. Ninth brother, where did you go before? I couldn't find you after the alchemy meeting was over. I was called by my fifth grandfather to discuss. The family wants to train me as a future alchemist. I may be very busy in the future, Yan Lingyu said as he walked into the house and found a set of tea sets to make a cup of hot tea for the seventh sister. Is that so? Yan Lingyu tilted her head, blinked her beautiful eyes, and then said in a very proud tone, then congratulations to Master Yan. In the future, my daughter will ask the master to make alchemy. Don't refuse. Bringing the teacup to the girl, Yan Lingyu smiled and said, how dare I not make alchemy for the seventh sister? I still want to live a long life. Hearing the satisfactory answer from her cousin, Yan Lingyu's face rarely flushed. The girl seemed to suddenly think of something and continued, it's enough that you are so nice to me. If other people ask you to make pills, you should know how to refuse. Don't agree to everyone's request. Yan Lingyu raised the teacup, handed it to his mouth, blew away the scum on the tea surface, took a sip, and then said nonchalantly, we are all brothers. I will help if I can. Since his previous life, he liked to do things personally and get close to his clansmen. At the beginning, his grandchildren and great-grandchildren were all guided by him. I can't say for sure, I just can't say for sure. Yan Lingyu's face suddenly changed and became stern. Alchemy is a time-consuming and troublesome thing. You spend all your time on it. What about your own practice? Lingyu, seventh sister tells you that cultivation is the foundation of a person. Even if you can make pills, you are just a tool. Forget about the family's alchemy task. In private, you must spend more time on practice. Forget it, I don't need you to make pills in the future. Looking at the little girl's appearance of a little adult, as calm as Yan Lingyu, he also wanted to laugh. He thought of his wife in his previous life, and that girl was also nosy in this way. At the same time, his memory of Yan Lingyu's life began to play. Yan Lingyu's parents were mortals without spiritual roots. They were sent by the Yan family to station in the border county and later died because of the beast chaos. When the accident happened, Yan Lingyu was with her parents. She was still young at that time and had just started practicing. She could only watch her parents die. The feeling of powerlessness was deeply rooted in Yan Lingyu's heart, so she longed to be strong, protect her family, and guard her relatives and friends. Because of this, she loved Yan Lingyu, who also lost his parents, very much, and treated him like her own brother. At the same time, she practiced very hard. She practiced a 5th level of Qi at a young age, while Yan Lingyu was only practicing the 3rd level of Qi at this time. The system reward had just awakened. It can be regarded as the one with the fastest progress in cultivation among the 7 generations of the Yan family. If you encounter difficulties in your practice in the future, you can come to me at any time. Hey, Lingyu, did you hear me? Seeing Yan Lingyu smiled but did not speak, the girl's volume increased a few points. Okay, Sister Qi, don't worry. I, the 9th brother, will build the foundation casually. Yan Lingyu was very optimistic about the young man in the clan in front of him, both in character and potential, and decided in his heart to occasionally give him some advice secretly. You are so lazy? You should be very lucky to be able to practice Qi at the 7th level. Seeing that her cousin had taken her words to heart, Yan Lingyu finally smiled again, and then she looked at the sky outside the window and added, it's getting late. You must listen to what I say today. Sister Qi will go back first. Sister Qi, take care. After Yan Lingyu left, Yan Lingyu simply packed up, then returned to the wooden bed and began to meditate. From the time he awakened his memory to the present, he has not had the opportunity to study his own changes. How does the realm recovery work? What is the effect of the Hengshui spirit body? He needs to check all these slowly. Yan Lingyu slightly adjusted his posture, then looked inward with his spiritual consciousness and observed carefully. Soon, he found that the flow rate of his true qi was much faster than normal. In the past, it took 3 breaths for the qi to flow back in one cycle, but now it only takes less than 1 breath. Not only that, Yan Lingyu also keenly discovered that the total amount of his qi was increasing every moment, and even if he stopped using qi, the growth of the qi was still going on spontaneously. I originally thought that the so-called cultivation recovery was that after a stage, the system directly injected a certain amount of cultivation into me. Now it seems that this is not the case. The current situation is that my cultivation has been increasing naturally, and my practice of meditation will accelerate this process, similar to a spirit body. Yan Lingyu thought of a legendary spirit body, the immortal spirit body. According to legend, people with this kind of spirit body will increase their cultivation even if they drink water. After sleeping for thousands of years, they will naturally become immortals without the need for cultivation. This natural growth pattern is very good, because it is continuous, the body can better adapt to this change, and there will be no gap between cultivation and physique, and, because I can accelerate this process when I practice, which means that my original estimate is wrong, it doesn't take me 15 years to build my foundation, maybe 12 years, or even 10 years. By then, I will be 30 years old. A 30-year-old foundation-building cultivator is a genius among the royal family and the upper sects. Before, Yan Lingyu was worried that Yan Lingyu didn't pay attention to cultivation. In fact, Yan Lingyu understood the importance of cultivation better than anyone else. Cultivation is related to a person's lifespan. Key training is 120, foundation building is 240, and golden elixir is 500. Moreover, there is a golden period for cultivation. If you are too old, cultivation will only be ineffective, or even stuck at a bottleneck. If you build your foundation at the age of 30, you will have a full 200 years to prepare for a breakthrough to the golden elixir realm. The more prepared you are, the greater the possibility of breaking through. The system can quickly restore me to the middle stage of foundation building, but I have to walk the path of cultivation on my own after that. My appearance is average, and I have 3 lower-grade spiritual roots. My progress in cultivation after the middle stage of foundation building will become slow. These extra 200 years are too important to me. Strong strength is what everyone desires, and Yan Lingyu is no exception. It was hopeless in the previous life, but in this life, there is a golden finger to help. Yan Lingyu's goal cannot be limited to foundation building. He has a big heart. He wants the golden elixir, he wants the nascent soul, he wants to refine the void, and he wants to merge with the Dao. Not only for himself, but also for the family. Chapter 7 Lingyu's Spirit and the Zhang family's response. At night, the subtle chirping of insects made the Yan family compound even more peaceful. Inside the house, the lights flickered, reflecting the tall figure of Yan Lingyu. After studying the speed of cultivation, he began to study the changes brought about by the Hengshui spirit body. Yan Lingyu had never heard of the Hengshui spirit body. But this is normal. There are thousands of spirit bodies in the world. He is just a foundation-building cultivator. It is impossible for him to understand everything. He also doesn't know what kind of spirit body Liu Yuxi is. Perhaps only those big sects and big families will have detailed records. The spirit body is a unique physique of the human race. It will give practitioners special powers, and some will even help people achieve enlightenment. Some people say that the spirit body is a byproduct of the spiritual root, because to this day, no human race has been found without spiritual roots but with a spirit body. Some people also say that the appearance of the spirit body is a manifestation of the human race's atavism. According to legend, the human race evolved from ancient mythical beasts, and the spirit body represents the awakening of the bloodline of the mythical beast. In short, a natural spirit body is beneficial to a cultivator without any harm. Therefore, it is very important to understand the specific effectiveness of the spirit body. Yan Lingyu closed his eyes and concentrated, breathing evenly, and continued to look inward, searching for some clues about the spirit. However, as time passed, he did not find anything unusual. Could it be this clear stream? Yan Lingyu murmured to himself uncertainly. From the beginning, he felt a strange, elusive feeling of coolness swimming in his body. Originally, he thought it was a phenomenon of recovery of cultivation, but after many inquiries, it seemed to have another reason. Maybe, when I try to use water magic, How will it change? Yan Lingyu opened his bright eyes slightly, and instantly cast a spell. Water Ring Technique, a water defense technique. Yan Lingyu's previous life was the head of the Yan family. He could read almost all the techniques and spells in the family. At the same time, because his cultivation stagnated in the later period, he spent a lot of time researching and improving the family's techniques, so that these foreign techniques can be better practiced by the clan members. Therefore, he has a deep understanding of many low-level techniques. As the spell was cast, a water belt appeared around Yan Lingyu, protecting his body in the middle, like a moat guard in the main city. At this time, if he was attacked, this water ring would help Yan Lingyu to dissipate the attack. The water ring has become wider and thicker. With Yan Lingyu's eyesight, he quickly noticed the changes in the water ring. The wider the water ring, the larger the protected area, the thicker the water ring, the greater its defensive ability. This low-level water ring technique seemed to have suddenly upgraded, and its power doubled. The feeling of the clear stream became stronger and stronger, and I felt like I had turned into a vast ocean. The 5-element spells secretly matched the 5 elements. In the land where the respective elements were rich, the effect of the corresponding spells would be amplified. For example, in the Wanli forest, the wood-based spells would be enhanced. In the deep sea, the effectiveness of the water-based spells would also be greatly enhanced. At this moment, Yan Lingyu felt that he was backed by the sea, and the water spirit energy was flowing continuously. If his cultivation level was improved, the upper limit of the power of this water ring technique would be further increased. At the same time, Yan Lingyu once again confirmed that the strange feeling of flow in his body was the manifestation of the Hengshui spirit body. Because he could clearly feel that the clear stream became turbulent and refreshing. The spirit body sent by the system is indeed powerful. I will find a way to get more water-based spells in the future, especially the exercises. While my cultivation level is not high now, it is still not too late to change the exercises. The spiritual roots of the Yan family members generally tend to be wood spiritual roots, so the exercises they collected are mostly wood attributes, and the least water attributes. However, Yan Lingyu's spiritual roots are wood, water, and soil, and he is practicing the 3 water and wood skills, a skill that neutralizes the dual attributes of water and wood. The key is that this skill is not of high grade. Yan Lingyu disliked it and wanted to change it. The Zhang family has a lot of water skills. Find a time to trick some back, which can also be regarded as replenishing the family treasury. Thinking like this, he continued to practice. A few days had passed since the alchemy meeting. On this day, in the Zhang family courtyard, "Dad, something bad has happened." An anxious and hurried voice came from Zhang family head Zhang Kaiming. In front of Zhang family head was Zhang Zhengai, the most senior and most powerful elder in the Zhang family. Zhang Zhengai had sparse hair and an old face, but his back was straight. He was in high spirits, and his eyes were shining. When he saw his son's panic, his face turned serious and he scolded, "A family head has lost his composure. How can this be disgraceful?" Zhang Kaiming shrank his neck. Facing his father's scolding, he did not dare to look at him, but the news was urgent in his mind, so he had to explain. "Dad, I heard recently that the Yan family has a genius in alchemy named Yan Lingyu. It is said that he can make a finished drug the first time he makes it. Within 100 years, he may become a master of alchemy. Various small and medium-sized forces in Beatty City have visited him and given gifts. This talent is far beyond that of my third brother. If he is really allowed to grow up, the rise of the Yan family will be unstoppable." The third brother mentioned by Zhang Kaiming is the only alchemy master in the Zhang family, Zhang Qixiao. However, unlike his son's panic, the Zhang clan elder had a calm expression. He chuckled, shook his head and said, "Kaiming, let me ask you, if the Zhang family had such an alchemy genius, would you put it on the list and publicize it?" Zhang Kaiming answered seriously, "Of course not. A tree that stands out in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. I will have people secretly cultivate and protect it. It should be so." Zhang Zhengai continued, "Then why do you think the Yan family acted like this?" Zhang Kaiming was slightly stunned and fell into deep thought. Then he said with an uncertain tone, "Maybe Liu Yuxi is old and confused. Humph, take a look at this." Seeing that the son of the head of the family had not yet understood the trick, Zhang Zhengai took out an envelope from the drawer and handed it over. Zhang Kaiming opened it and read the contents word by word. In the alchemy training meeting, Yan Lingyu's juxing is slightly inferior, and Yan Lingyu's juxing is perfect. After reading the news, Zhang Kaiming was even more confused. because the information in it was far from what he knew. It said that Yan Lingyu was only in the form of a gathering jade, not the elixir that was rumored in Beatty City. This is a spy planted there, who got it from the Yan family. This is the most authentic news. Zhang Zhangai narrowed his eyes and continued to speak without waiting for Zhang Kaiming's reaction. When I was young, my father always boasted about Yan Ping, the ancestor of the Yan family. He was very wise and could carve out his own cake alone in Yingzhou, where the power distribution was already perfect. Later, after the death of Ancestor Yan, he planned to protect the Yan family for 10 years, which made people hate and admire him. It was also at that time that my Zhang family regarded this family, which was established for 100 years, as the biggest stumbling block on the road ahead, and Liu Yuxi, as a disciple of Yan Ping, has obviously inherited the wisdom of her master. The fact that the Yan family can continue to develop after the Black Mountain mine was destroyed shows that she is very capable. My Zhang family must not take this kind of person lightly, don't you understand? At this point, Zhang Zhangai looked at Zhang Kaiming, who nodded and shook his head, and said in confusion, even if Liu Yuxi is extremely smart, why did she do such a thing? Zhang Zhangai retracted his gaze and continued with a little helplessness. I usually tell you to read more books and don't just practice. I'm really worried about how the family will be maintained after I'm gone. Why did Liu Yuxi do this? A substitute for a dead one. Sacrifice the pawn to save the king. The so-called genius Yan Lingyu is just a cover. A tool to attract our attention. As long as we start to pay attention to Yan Lingyu, we will be fooled, because at this time, the real alchemy genius of the Yan family can develop with peace of mind. Zhang Zhangai's voice was deafening. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8, 3 Years of Stability. Dad, do you mean that Yan Lingyu is the one we need to pay special attention to? After Zhang Zhangai's explanation, Zhang Kaiming also came to his senses and understood the deep meaning of the Yan family's series of actions. After Zhang Kaiming finished speaking, he fell into deep thought again. The more he thought about the pros and cons, the more scared he felt. That's true. If it weren't for Dad's reminder, I would have ignored Yan Lingyu. He has an alchemy talent that is no less than that of my third brother. If he is allowed to grow up with peace of mind, he will at least be an alchemy master. This Yan Lingyu is well hidden under the light of Yan Lingyu. What a great trick. I almost got caught, but fortunately, Dad, you are wise and brave, and you saw through the plan of the old woman Liu Yuxi. Zhang Zhangai nodded gently at his son's reaction and finally smiled. Of course, this was not because of flattery, but because he felt that the head of the family was quite smart. Then, he said quietly, I even suspect that the perfect gathering refined by Yan Lingyu was not made by him himself, but arranged by the Yan family in advance. It is very likely the work of Yan Jidao. The Yan family planned it from the beginning, with the purpose of confusing the test and covering up the truth. After all, it is impossible to prevent our Zhang and Yan families from planting accomplices in each other. Zhang Zhangai paused, with the cold light in his eyes, and said again. This old woman Liu is quite scheming. Fortunately we are one step ahead of her. Zhang Kaiming was in high spirits, feeling happy and smiling. He continued to sigh. The old woman had planned everything, but we still found out her flaws. It can be said that the devil is 1 foot high and the road is 10 feet high. Ho ha ho ha. Zhang Kaiming stopped laughing after a long while and looked at his father again. Dad, since you have seen through the other party's intentions, what should my Zhang family do next? Turn the tables. Zhang Zhangai said these 4 words, and then said sinisterly, we will show our intention to threaten Yan Lingyu on the surface, so that the Yan family will relax their vigilance and prepare to kill Yan Lingyu in secret. When Yan Lingyu dies, they will not suspect our Zhang family first. Okay. Dad, when do we start? No hurry. Zhang Zhangai looked out the window, which was the direction of the Yan family. He stroked his gray beard and said solemnly, the most important thing in cultivating immortals is one's own cultivation. If the Yan family wants to cultivate this alchemy talent, they are bound to spend a lot of spirit stones on it. The spirit stones used for cultivation will be reduced, and the overall strength of the Yan family will not increase but decrease. Although the Yan family can hold on now, it has already exceeded its income and is standing on the edge of a cliff. This alchemy talent seems to be an opportunity, but in fact it is a poison, the last straw that breaks the camel's back. and he will exhaust the remaining strength of the Yan family. We just need to wait and see. When the Yan family has spent time and effort to cultivate Yan Lingyu and their strength is the most empty, we will take action to cut off their last hope. Then the Yan family is destined to fall into an abyss of no return and lose the capital to make a comeback. The more Zhang Zhangai spoke, the more excited he was. He seemed to see the scene of the Yan family being destroyed. Zhang Kaiming, who was standing aside, was also excited when he saw this scene, and at the same time he was secretly shocked. The confrontation between the older generation really killed people invisibly. Oh, right, Kaiming, Zhang Zhangai suddenly thought of a plan. Here, the kid from the Yan family named Yan Lingyu is also a good chess piece. We can use him. Zhang Zhangai showed a sinister and vicious expression on his face. Dad, how to use him? Zhang Zhangai laughed and said, sacrifice the rook to save the king. Will the abandoned rook have no complaints? I have read Yan Lingyu's information. Both his parents have passed away. He is all alone. Although he has spiritual roots, his status in the Yan family is not high. This should be the reason why he was chosen as the abandoned child. Such a humble person in the family has a low sense of belonging to the family. Now he has to be sacrificed. At this time, this 16-year-old boy will definitely change his mind and have a different mind. When the time comes, we just need to throw out an olive branch and give him some small benefits, and he will easily submit to me. Kaiming, what do you think? After hearing his father's words, Zhang Kaiming was shocked and his hair stood on end. He thought about it for a while, and felt that this kid named Yan Lingyu had no reason not to rebel. If Yan Lingyu really surrendered to their Zhang family, from then on, they would know everything about the Yan family. It would even be easy to eliminate important figures of the Yan family, who would guard against the clan members behind them. Father is wise, and I admire you so much. I will arrange this matter now, Zhang Kaiming said solemnly and respectfully. Kaiming, you still have a lot to learn. Spring goes and autumn comes, and in a blink of an eye, 3 years have passed. Just after the autumnal equinox, the entire Beatty city was covered with the golden color, and a thriving atmosphere was brewing in every corner of the city. The 2 stone lions in front of the Yan family's mansion also looked more majestic than before. In the quiet town hall, 2 handsome young men were chatting with each other. Congratulations, third brother, you can also skillfully refine Zhanki pills and become an alchemist in the true sense, the jade-faced young man said to the people around him with a smile. No, ninth brother, if it weren't for your and fifth grandpa's help, I don't know when I would be able to refine this Henki pill. Now I can also refine a variety of pills. I can finally make some contributions to the family and live up to the family's cultivation of me. The person who spoke was beaming with pride. The 2 were the 7 generations of the Yan family, Yan Lingyu and Yan Lingyu, who had the talent for alchemy. After saying goodbye to fifth grandpa, the 2 brothers walked out along the spacious corridor. During the period, they kept exchanging their experiences. After returning to the residence, Yan Lingyu closed his eyes and meditated. 3 years later, his cultivation level soared from the 3rd level of key training to the 5th level of key training. This speed of cultivation also shocked the top leaders of the Yan family. You should know that Yan Lingyu spent half of his time in the past 3 years practicing alchemy. But even so, his cultivation level was still so fast, which attracted the attention of the clan members. While keeping it secret as much as possible, the Yan family also supported giving Yan Lingyu more cultivation resources. Now, Yan Lingyu can refine more than a dozen low-level elixirs, and secretly refines several batches of elixirs for the family, which he sells, which can be regarded as solving the urgent problem of the Yan family's shortage of funds. At the same time, he is also proficient in 10 powerful magics. It can be said that he is practicing both Taoism and alchemy. Everything seems to be going perfectly, but there is still a problem. Yan Lingyu still hasn't found a suitable water-based technique. His Hengshui body has not been exposed so far, and Yan Lingyu is worried that this will suddenly change the situation of the Yan family, so he has been hiding it. Therefore, he collected the water-based techniques himself. He has searched the Chamber of Commerce and the auction house in Beatty City, but he didn't find the technique he wanted, so Yan Lingyu had to put it aside for the time being. In the past 3 years, there was another thing that bothered Yan Lingyu. The Zhang family was too quiet. Although he could find someone following him when he went out, and he was sure that it was someone from the Zhang family, the other party did not show any hostility. Yan Lingyu even felt vaguely that the other party did not want to harm him, but to protect him. It was really weird, and I didn't know what Zhang Zhangyi was up to. Since we are here, let's make the best of it. Yan Lingyu let out a breath, cleared her mind of distracting thoughts, and began her practice for the day. Chapter 9, Siblings and Brothers Discuss Lingyu's Determination. In the early morning, the sun was rising. The Yan family courtyard seemed to have been cleansed, with steam rising and everything revived. In a courtyard, Yan Lingyu slowly opened his eyes and ended a night of meditation. After a simple wash, he steamed 2 large meat buns for himself to fill his stomach. Then, he came to his own courtyard and practiced various Taoist methods. This was his daily morning class. Since Yan Lingyu's talent for alchemy was exposed, the Yan family arranged a new residence for him, located in the northwest corner of the Yan family mansion. It was so quiet and secluded, with birds singing and flowers blooming. He liked this atmosphere very much. Ninth brother. I'm coming in. Just as Yan Lingyu was practicing the water ring technique, a familiar voice sounded. No need to think, it must be Yan Lingyu. Sure enough, the next moment, Yan Lingyu broke into the door, as if this courtyard was her home. In the past 3 years, it took a lot of effort just to repair the gate. Seventh sister, Yan Lingyu greeted with a smile, so kind. After many trials and tribulations, the ancestor of the Yan family, who is actually over 200 years old, can now deal with these young people with ease. Come on, ninth brother, let's practice again today, Yan Lingyu said, and regardless of whether the former agreed or not, she took the lead in stretching her muscles. Okay, it is near the end of the year, and the family competition is coming soon. This is the annual assessment of the Yan family for the clan members. Every clan member takes this matter very seriously, as it is related to their resource allocation and future development direction. Of course, this does not include Yan Lingyu. He has always just gone through the motions. But he always participates in it. There is no other reason. Seeing the younger generation of the family continue to grow, he, the ancestor, is happy and comfortable. As soon as Yan Lingyu finished speaking, the opponent's attack was already in front of him. The originally smooth and flat ground suddenly trembled, and an infinitely extended vine emerged and trapped Yan Lingyu. Seventh sister, you have to fix these floor tiles. Yan Lingyu was not in a hurry. A water curtain lit up around him, blocking the spread of vines. He quickly moved back and casually shot out a few water bullets and wooden spikes. The power of low-level magic was not great, and Yan Lingyu could easily dispel it with her true ki. I will fix it, humph, ninth brother, you have to be careful, seventh sister, I will start to take it seriously. After resolving the counterattack, the girl pushed the ground with 1 foot and rushed forward, closing the distance with Yan Lingyu. At the same time, the green light of her jade hand was bright, and the 100-wood palm was used instantly. For a while, both sides used all their means, and they fought back and forth, which was very tense. But this was just an appearance. After a while, unlike Yan Lingyu who was still relaxed, the girl Yan Lingyu was already sweating and panting. Since Lingyu was promoted to the 5th level of ki training, his performance has become more and more heroic, and it is difficult for me to get the upper hand. At this time, the girl felt a little irritated. In the past 3 years, his cousin has broken through the shackles and reached the 5th level of ki training. He can learn low-level magic at once, and his application and skills are perfect. As if Yan Lingyu is not a young man under 20 years old, but an old monster who has been struggling for 100 years. What makes her even more unwilling is that she is still stuck at the bottleneck, unable to make any progress, and is still at the 5th level of ki training. The situation is completely opposite to that of her cousin. There are 4 thresholds for ki training, namely the 3rd, 5th, 7th and 9th levels. She encountered difficulties at the 2nd level and had difficulty moving forward. These are a great blow to Yan Lingyu, who is determined to build a foundation. The girl looked at Yan Lingyu who kept casting spells, and was secretly surprised. It turns out that my doting cousin has grown to this level. In Yan Lingyu's eyes, the young talent in front of her seemed like a bottomless black hole, and he could handle any attack with ease. With her pink lips tightly closed and her silver teeth clenched, Yan Lingyu understood that her cousin's strength had surpassed her unknowingly. Seventh sister, your wooden steel leg is really powerful, but the hit rate is touching. There is no need to attack only the vital parts. It is also very good to try to cut the enemy's body trunk and reduce the opponent's combat power, Yan Lingyu's voice sounded. In his opinion, the little girl in front of him is really talented. She can learn a lot from several exchanges. She is considered the most promising among the 7 generations of the clan. Therefore, Yan Lingyu kept secretly training her and correcting the girl's mistakes in cultivation. He hopes to create another top combat force for the Yan family. He actually still has the mind to guide me. He didn't even use his full strength, however. Yan Lingyu's words set off a huge wave in the girl's heart. All kinds of memories kept flooding into Yan Lingyu's mind, and she suddenly realized that her cousin had already begun to instruct her a long time ago. The girl's heart sank again, her mind was confused, and her movements slowed down. At this time, Yan Lingyu also vaguely discovered that something was wrong. His 7th sister had been distracted since just now, and she spoke less than at the beginning. 7th sister, he called out softly. But the other party remained indifferent. Oh no, this arrogant little girl will not be hit by me. Yan Lingyu was alert. Hiss, it really feels like this. Did I use too much force? No, my Hengshui spirit body has been suppressing it, and my strength is also showing that it is on par with hers. Sometimes I even show a flaw and deliberately fall into a disadvantage. How can it be hit? Young people nowadays have a really poor inner defense. What should I do next? Yan Lingyu muttered to himself. He was also anxious about the current situation. It was rare to see a good seedling from the Yan family, but it was about to go astray. It was hard to say whether there would be a gap in the heart in the future, and the formation of inner demons would affect the path. In order to avoid bad things from happening, Yan Lingyu thought quickly. Ouch! Suddenly, Yan Lingyu screamed and flew backwards. This movement scared the deep girl, and she hurried to the other side to check the situation. Lingyu, are you okay? 7th sister, you are too strong. I have used up all my energy and still can't gain the slightest advantage. I really can't spar with you anymore. Yan Lingyu looked embarrassed, waving his hands and panting. Well, let's stop here for today. You should rest more. Lingyu helped her brother up and said. Yet, 7th sister's expression was much more relaxed, and there was a smile on her face again. Yan Lingyu finally breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at the girl's somewhat delicate back as she left, Yan Lingyu secretly felt lucky that he realized something was wrong quickly and showed weakness and defeated in time, so that he could make up for it. Thanks to my superb acting skills, this incident also made him realize that if he would reincarnate again in the future, he must hide his edge. If he behaved too evilly, not to mention how the hostile forces would view him, his brothers would be discouraged first. Outside Yan Lingyu's courtyard, Yan Lingyu had a faint smile on her pretty face. Lingyu has finally grown up. Not only has her strength surpassed mine, but she has also learned to be considerate of her sister and no longer needs my protection. After the word protection fell, the expression of the pretty girl dimmed. Am I going to be useless again? The scene of her parents' tragic death kept flashing through Yan Lingyu's mind. Maybe the stagnation of my cultivation is the result of my laziness. Pressure is motivation. It's too comfortable to stay in the family. At the beginning, Ancestor Yan Ping was a casual cultivator. He kept going out, trekking through mountains and rivers, and going through all kinds of hardships. Only then could he achieve such immortal achievements and establish the century-old family business of my Yan family. I must follow the example of my ancestor, step out of the comfortable area, and go out to try my luck. Yan Lingyu cheered up, and her bright blue eyes were full of determination. Chapter 10. Farewell to the 7th sister at the city gate, attacked on the way back. 2 peaceful days passed. This day. What, you want to go out for training? Yan Lingyu widened his eyes, looking at the beautiful woman with a bag in front of him in surprise, and asked. Yes, the environment in the clan is too comfortable and stable, which is not conducive to my breaking through the shackles, so I want to go to a wider world to train. And I have made up my mind, you don't have to stop me anymore. Yan Lingyu's tone was resolute and solemn. The young man patted his forehead helplessly. He knew that the competition that day still had an impact on the other party. Although he had some problems, it was still good from the results. Originally, Yan Lingyu thought that the 7th sister would sink into depravity and become self-destructive and breed inner demons after being stimulated. But now it seems that his behavior has played a role of encouragement and spurring. As for Yan Lingyu's venture into the outside world, Yan Lingyu encouraged and appreciated it. In his previous life, he traveled around most of the Dacian dynasty. He knew the true vastness of this world. This Yingzhou was still too small and the resources were too scarce. 7th sister, I support you. When are you leaving? Right now, does the clan know? Yan Lingyu asked again. Second master agreed, then I'll see you off. Just like that, the Yan siblings walked along the corridor of the Yan family courtyard and walked out the door. After leaving the house, the hustle and bustle of the business swell, the rush of passers-by, and the standing of the buildings appeared in front of them. Yan Lingyu unconsciously stopped and felt that she was leaving the home where she had lived for more than 20 years. Ninth brother, do you still remember that we often ate fish in that Kyuksun when we were young? Taking another step, the girl said to the cousin who was taller than her. Yes, I still remember, Yan Lingyu replied. In fact, after combining the memories of more than 200 years in the previous life, some memories of this life have been diluted, such as this Kyuksun. He really has no impression. Of course, in order not to eat chestnuts, he gave a positive answer. That's good, we still owe that store a spiritual stone. Remember to help me pay it back when the time comes, Yan Lingyu said with a smile. Hey, isn't this the Lu family mansion? Ninth brother, seventh sister, don't say anything. Lu King and I are just ordinary friends. Of course, whatever the other party imagines, it has nothing to do with me. Ha 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 ha. While talking and laughing, the siblings had arrived at the main gate of Beatty City. At this time, there was an endless stream of pedestrians coming in and out, including cultivators, mortals, driving cars, and carrying loads. The cultivator guard in the city naturally saw the Yan family's exclusive clothing and stood aside quietly waiting. By the way, seventh sister, have you arranged your training plan? Where to go first and then where? The siblings were silent for a while, and Yan Lingyu started to speak first. Well, I haven't thought about it yet, it was the seventh sister. Then let me give you some advice, seventh sister, you can go to the edge of the Shiwan Mountains first. There are many low-level monsters there, and you can use this to hone yourself. The Shiwan Mountains are located in the southernmost part of the Dacian dynasty, only 2 states away from Yingzhou. There are countless monsters in it, which is why Yingzhou often encounters beast tides. Fortunately, with the presence of major sects such as the Hengshui sect, the southern part of Dacian can develop relatively steadily. After you have achieved success in your cultivation, you can follow the returning merchant group and go to Shanghaiao County. In Shanghaiao County, there are many famous families that are countless times more powerful than the Yan family. There, you will definitely be able to broaden your horizons. Finally, go straight to the imperial capital of Dacian. If you can make a name for yourself there, then the whole world will know your reputation as Yan Lingyu. Yan Lingyu talked freely. Ninth brother, how do you know so much? Aren't you also a stay-at-home mom? The golden house is in the book, and you should read more. Seventh sister, when Yan Lingyu heard about reading, her head swelled up a lot in an instant, and she quickly stopped and said, Okay, then I will listen to my cousin, and go to Shiwan Mountain first. Seeing that the other party was about to leave, Yan Lingyu took out 2 plain-looking jade bottles from her arms and handed them to the girl. Seventh sister, take care. Yan Lingyu took the jade bottle without pretending. She knew that the jade bottle contained the elixir refined by her cousin. After touching her ninth brother's head for the last time, she left casually. After watching Yan Lingyu go away, Yan Lingyu began to return. By the way, he went to the treasure pavilion to see if there were any good water-based exercises. After crossing several streets frequently, Yan Lingyu's heart moved and he said to himself, has the Zhang family's surveillance started again? No. Suddenly, Yan Lingyu frowned. Then several screams broke through the sky. Ah, what are you doing? Ouch! 2 black shadows rushed towards Yan Lingyu at a speed barely visible to the naked eye. This time it was no longer surveillance, but a real attack. Yan Lingyu didn't have time to think about it. He flipped his right palm and a small dark green shield the size of a palm appeared in his palm. The Blackwater Black Turtle Shield, a mid-grade defensive magic weapon, is also the best magic weapon he has, and it comes from the protection of the Yan family. With a sound of anger, the Blackwater Tortoise Shield suddenly grew larger and protected Yan Lingyu's chest. At the same time, the young man used many magics, including the light body technique and the escape technique, and ran towards the Yan family's ancestral home. Yan Lingyu's cultivation level is not high now, so it is impossible for him to fight the killer head-on. On the other side, in an attic, an old man in a gray robe was drinking tea quietly, but his mind was always on the distance. Not good. Lingyu was attacked. In an instant, the old man in the gray robe disappeared from the spot. Ding! With a crisp sound, obvious cracks appeared on the Blackwater Tortoise Shield. Yan Lingyu had just been hit by a knife. He was fast, but the other party was even faster. In just 2 breaths, the two sides met. 8th level of key training, superior magic weapon, Yan Lingyu thought to himself, and at the same time, he breathed a sigh of relief. Although he was only at the 5th level of key training now, 3 levels behind the other party, and the other party's magic weapon was obviously more advanced than his. But he was still confident that he could be worry-free. As long as he held on for a while, the guards arranged by the family would arrive. With this thought, Yan Lingyu stopped running away and instead used magic on the spot, preparing to fight to the end. At this time, the crowd around him had already moved away, which exposed the killer's identity to everyone. The other party was dressed in a black robe and a mask on his face. Except for the fact that he was a man, nothing else was known. Uproar water flow appeared around Yan Lingyu, and the water ring technique combined with a black water tortoise shield looked extremely solid. The killer didn't wait for the former to make more preparations. The longsword in his hand shone brightly, and he used his magic power to the extreme, and slashed at Yan Lingyu with a knife. The speed was so fast that he couldn't dodge at all, and could only take it head-on. Pop! The water ring technique was split like tofu, and then the second line of defense came. I don't know what kind of sword technique the other party used, but it made the long sword have obvious shock force, making the black water tortoise shield, which was already damaged, unable to bear the weight and shattered. Fortunately, after this obstruction, the sword's force was greatly reduced, and Yan Lingyu was able to avoid it without injury. Who dares to touch my Yan family in Beatty City? A loud shout suddenly came, and an old man with angry hair appeared. Seeing that the elders of the clan had arrived, Yan Lingyu did not save any mana, and used the water arrow technique, water bomb technique, and wood thorn technique one after another to keep the killer. However, the killer was not panicked and took out an orange-yellow talisman. The talisman ignited without wind, and thick black mist poured out from the middle of the talisman. The next moment, the black fog enveloped the entire street. Visibility was reduced, and the spiritual sense could not check, only bursts of exclamations came faintly. Black River Talisman. Seeing that the opponent still had moves, Yan Lingyu, who was covered by darkness, no longer hid his clumsiness, and the Hengshui spirit body opened up. Water vapor was everywhere, and the water ring technique and water skin line were greatly enhanced. Beware of sneak attacks. However, the expected attack did not come. When the mist dissipated, Yan Lingyu was left with only the elders of his own clan, and the killer disappeared. Chapter 11 Clues revealed, Zhang family plan. In Beatty City, as the monks fought fiercely, the mortals on the street hid to avoid being injured by the aftermath. Only a few independent cultivators who thought they had good cultivation were still watching from a distance. That jade-faced man, if I'm not mistaken, should be the alchemy genius of the Yan family, Yan Lingyu, who said that although an alchemist can make pills, he has no fighting power and can only be protected by others. The kid in front of me is at most 20 years old, but he has the 5th level of key training and can barely fight with the cultivators of the 8th level of key training. The young are really formidable. After all, he is a disciple of the Yan family of Emperor Bai. His average strength is naturally stronger than those of us casual cultivators. A tree that stands out from the peak must be destroyed. Today, Yan Lingyu was attacked. It must be that the major forces in Yingzhou don't want him to continue to grow, so they hired someone to kill him. People in the distance continued to watch the excitement. The old man of the Yan family walked up to Yan Lingyu and asked worriedly, "Lingyu, are you okay?" Yan Lingyu saluted, then calmed down the somewhat disordered true energy in his body, waved his hand and said, "Fifth Master, Lingyu is fine." The gray-robed old man is Yan Renzhong Chong, a member of the 4th generation of the Yan family. He is a brother of Yan Renming who entered the Hengshui sect and is already 100 years old this year. When Yan Lingyu first met him in this life, she sighed. In the previous life, before Yan Ping passed away, Yan Renzhong was still a crying baby in his cradle, but now he is old. Yan Renzhong looks old and kind, but his 9th level key training is manic and terrifying. Among the only 3 4th generation members of the Yan family left, Yan Renzhong is the one who is often exposed to the world and can be regarded as the high-end combat power of the Yan family. Lingyu, can you see the origin of the opponent's moves and which family and sect he belongs to? Yan Renzhong asked. Shaking his head, Yan Lingyu said, I can't tell. The other party is very well hidden. Apart from the handshaking technique, there is no other special performance. I think he is a shady person who doesn't want to reveal his identity. Even with his 200 years of vision, he couldn't see it, and there was no need to delve into the matter. Then, Yan Lingyu looked at a broken small shield in his hand, sighed, and felt distressed. It was a medium-grade magic weapon worth about 300 spirit stones. He raised money for half a year to buy such a piece. Now it has been gloriously sacrificed in such a simple way. I don't know if it can be repaired. At the same time, Yan Lingyu was a little confused. This attack always felt strange. As a killer, he should understand that even a lion fighting a rabbit should do its best, but the other party released a Black River talisman at the last moment. Not only that, when the Black River talisman was used, the black fog covered the street, which was the most helpless time for Yan Lingyu. However, at this best time to attack, the other party seemed to be worried about being caught and chose to run away. This completely violated the purpose of the killer. Killers cherish their lives? It is unlikely, because the other party obviously did not try his best at the beginning. He is a fool to let him go because he cherishes his life. The killer does not want to kill him? It sounds even more outrageous. But after excluding other possibilities, it seems that this is the only explanation. In this case, what does the killer want? Just to scare me? And then destroy one of his defensive magic tools? But the other party also used a valuable talisman. The killer must have a purpose for his actions. Is it a feint? To make the Yan family focus all their strength and attention on me so that they can do other things? Linking. Make a feint to the east and attack in the west. Suddenly, Yan Lingyu had a flash of inspiration and suddenly realized, it has been 3 years since the alchemy talent was discovered. Time can wear away anything. In the past 3 years, the Zhang family and other forces have not made any move, which made Yan Lingyu forget that there was such a thing. The Yan family's cover-up actions, which were real and fake, were to cover up Yan Lingyu's talent and reduce the possibility of danger. Now it seems that the original purpose has been achieved. The other party pretended to attack Yan Lingyu, but in fact, the real killer move was aimed at Yan Lingyu, another alchemy genius of the Yan family. What happened to Lingyu? The fifth master saw that the young man's brows were suddenly furrowed, and then his face was relaxed, and asked curiously, "Fifth master, let's go see the elder of the Liu clan." The killer's ultimate goal is Brother Lingyu. Since Yan Lingyu saw through the other party's mind, he would naturally not let him succeed. Soon, Lord Beatty arrived with a group of monks, evacuated the people, arranged the funeral, and asked whether to search the whole city for the murderer. Yan Lingyu knew that a city-wide search was useless. The killer was not the key, but the person behind the scenes was what he had to be wary of. After saying goodbye to Lord Beatty, the old and the young hurried home. Zhang's family. Zhang's Hengshui leaned on the gorgeous wooden chair, looking into the distance. Beside him was the head of the Zhang family, who was holding the file and reporting seriously. Recently, the Yan family has exported a large number of low-level elixirs, and their finances have improved. In addition, the Yan family has begun to contact the surrounding chambers of commerce, and even have dealings with the chambers of commerce and families in the neighboring counties. I think it is to open up new trade channels. If they really complete it, all the elixir monopoly we have done before will lose its meaning, the head of the Zhang family said angrily. Unlike his reaction, Zhang's Hengshui smiled, his mind was relaxed, and he said confidently, the Yan family is anxious. In the past 3 years, they have invested too much in training alchemists. From the frequent outings of the clan members to accept commission tasks to earn spirit stones, it can be seen that the Yan family's spirit stones are obviously insufficient. They are now in urgent need of using elixirs to exchange for spirit stones to fill the gap and repay debts. At this time, as long as those alchemists are eliminated, the Yan family's spirit stone chain will be completely broken. As the two talked, a man in a black robe entered the house in a dusty manner. Zhang's Hengshui saw the person coming and asked, "Pingyu, how did it go?" "Everything went well. The Yan family kid was saved. This kid has some skills and his cultivation is not bad. He is at the 5th level of key training. He is actually a good material for cultivation." Zhang Pingyu, a direct descendant of the Zhang family, is not from the Zhang's Hengshui lineage, but he is only loyal to the latter. He is the leader of the Zhang family's assassination department, and it was him who attacked Yan Lingyu. Oh, Zhang's Hengshui became interested after listening to the report, and continued with a murmur, "It seems that Yan Lingyu is indeed a cover. How can he both make pills and practice in 3 years? And he is already dissatisfied, So he will practice hard to prove himself and get rid of his scapegoat status. Today, I asked you to attack him, both to make a feint to the east and attack the west, so keeping him alive can better contain the power of the Yan family. At the same time, this open killing will also magnify the dissatisfaction and fear in the boy's heart. If a person is in crisis all the time, his mentality will change greatly. Zhang Zhangai stood up slowly while speaking, his voice became deeper and his eyes slowly became fierce. Of course, these actions can only be regarded as a hidden chess move. It's best if they are useful, but it doesn't matter if they are useless. What we have to do next is to lure Yan Lingyu and Yan Jidao out of the tortoise shell of the Yan family, and then, Zhang Zhangai made a chopping motion in the air. Chapter 12, Family Finances Improve, Reaction to the Attack. After the man in black robe left, the head of the Zhang family asked his father with half confusion and half hesitation, "Dad, are you really going to share the thing?" There was obvious unwillingness on the face of the head of the Zhang family, as if that thing was more important than the flesh on his body. Zhang Zhangai didn't look at him. Instead, he put his hands behind his back and said solemnly, "If you want to trick the Yan family out of Beatty City, ordinary temptation is not enough, only that thing can be used." The head of the Zhang family gritted his teeth and asked hatefully, "Dad, aren't you afraid that after the Yan family gets the thing, the family power will expand instantly?" This time, Zhang Zhangai turned around. He stared at the son in front of him whom he had raised with his own hands. He sighed, and his tone became disappointed. "I always tell you that you must have a long-term vision and not just focus on the gains and losses in front of you. So what if the Yan family has benefited from that thing? My Zhang family will only get more. With that thing, my Zhang family will have the confidence to expand outward. By then, if the Yan family wants this remote little land of Yingzhou, it won't matter if it is given to them. Yingzhou is too small and it restricts your vision. The boundless galaxy outside is more brilliant and glorious. It is the goal that our generation should pursue." Zhang Zhangai's eyes were full of yearning. Suddenly, he changed the subject and laughed. "Besides, the Yan family has taken advantage of us, so they should be able to enjoy it. I have sent people to Hengshui sect to monitor Yan Renming. As long as he doesn't come, Liu Yuxi, who is in the early stage of foundation building, can't support herself. We tell her to come alive or go back alive." Two flowers bloom, each with its own beauty. In the Yan family meeting room, the financial hall master Yan Ji and Qin Zheng reported the financial revenue and expenditure to the elders of the clan. Last month, the purchase of elixirs only cost 400 spiritual stones, salaries cost 830 spiritual stones, refining tools cost 700 spiritual stones, the total expenditure of the family is 3020 spiritual stones, mining of spiritual mines cost 1500 spiritual stones, the salary of the dynasty is 500 spiritual stones, completing the higher tasks, a total of 600 spiritual stones were earned. The spiritual stones earned by the Yan family members when they go out to perform tasks are kept by themselves and part is handed over to the family. When performing tasks assigned by the Yan family, they do not need to hand them over. The income from refining elixirs is 450 spiritual stones. Last month, the total income of the family was 3,200 spiritual stones. The profit is 180 spiritual stones. Elder Liu, the Yan family's finances have achieved a surplus for 10 consecutive months. Yan Jikan was excited and extremely happy. He has been the head of the finance hall for 40 years. He was anxious and even his daily cultivation was stagnant because of his continuous expenditure. At this moment, the Yan family finally made a profit again. How could Yan Jikan not be excited? Since two alchemists were born in the family, the Yan family's expenditure on elixirs has been decreasing, and now there is an additional income from alchemy. Originally, the Yan family had only 2 alchemists, and the elixirs they made were far from enough to be consumed within the family, and they had to purchase them separately, spending extra spirit stones. Now that there are 4 alchemists, not only can they meet the needs of the family members themselves, but they also have extra elixirs to sell. Usually, they only need to purchase some special elixirs. The family situation has changed dramatically. The head of the family, Yan Jilian, heard this report, and a rare smile appeared on his usually cold face. He said, "Another good news, the contract with the Kindi Ma family has been negotiated before. We sent an alchemist to teach them alchemy, and they will provide a series of talisman supplies. At the same time, they will guide the Yan family to train their own talisman masters. Lingyan has a talent for making talismans. I have sent him to the Ma family to exchange and learn." Liu Yuxi, who was sitting at the head of the family, listened quietly to the report of the family members, and her mood was also very comfortable. After the Battle of Black Mountain City, the Yan family, after half a hundred years of decline and distress, began to get back on track. Yan Renzhong and Yan Lingyu walked into the heated discussion of the Yan family's top leaders. The heavy momentum of the two made the atmosphere in the meeting hall lower. Clan Elder Liu, Lingyu was attacked just now. The other party was obviously well prepared. Yan Renzhong directly explained the attack on Yan Lingyu. After hearing what happened, Yan Jiqin was scared. As a pillar of the family, Yan Lingyu could not make any mistakes. He asked, "Fifth uncle, do you know who sent the other party? Is there any need to think about this? It must be related to that old ghost Zhang Zhenggai." "It's really too much," the head of the Yan family on the side interrupted and said angrily. "I don't know." Yan Renzhong shook his head, glanced at Zhang Lingyu beside him, and said, "Lingyu has some guesses, you can listen to his ideas." As everyone's eyes focused on the young man, Yan Lingyu repeated the Zhang family's idea of making a feint to the east and attacking in the west. The top leaders of the Yan family fell into deep thought. "Lingyu, what you mean is that the mastermind behind the scenes has no intention of killing you, and the person they really want to kill is Lingyu?" Liu Yuxi, who was dressed simply, asked softly with eyes flashing. "Yes, Elder Liu, my suggestion is that the Yan family should give more protection to brother Lingyu now." As soon as Yan Lingyu finished speaking, a slightly rough voice sounded. "No, the Yan family has limited resources and can only protect one of you completely. In order to prevent the other party from making a comeback, Lingyu, you need more protection. Besides, you are much more important than Lingyu. He can die, but you can't have any accidents." The person who spoke was the head of the family, Yan Jilian. Yan Jilian's face was solemn and cold, his eyes were bright, and he looked at Liu Yuxi and continued, "I also suggest that Lingyu should be reduced from going out and stay in the Yan family's territory so that he can be better protected. Although the Yan family is the largest family power in Beidi City, this Beidi City belongs to the Daqian dynasty after all. The Yan family only has some say in the many forbidden formations in the city. The Yan family's ancestral home is different. There are traps everywhere. Arrays of formations, many monks, and a master-level clan protection formation left by the ancestor Yan Ping. Once it is opened, even if there are 5 foundation-building monks from the outside world, they cannot break in." Liu Yuxi did not respond to the head of the Yan family, but looked at Yan Lingyu. The latter frowned and narrowed his eyes. For Yan Lingyu, he has the possibility of reincarnation. Even if he is killed by the Zhang family at this moment, at most he will be reincarnated with a low score and start over again in the next life. If Yan Lingyu dies, that is the real death, and the Yan family will lose. What's more, who was Yan Lingyu in his previous life? As the ancestor of the Yan family and a great foundation-building monk, he has always been the only one who protects the clan members. Sacrificing the younger generation for him will only make Yan Lingyu feel disgusted and self-blame. Just as he was about to say something, the icy voice of the head of the Yan Jilian family sounded again. "Lingyu, you have to understand that your life does not belong to you now, but to the entire family." Facing the other party's righteous words, Yan Lingyu was speechless. Why speechless? Because the words the head of the family said were also said by him, but in the previous life. At that time, the family was just established and had not yet formed an effective management system. Yan Ping had to lead by example and said many words such as the family survives as long as the people are alive, and the people die when the family dies, and strive for the strength of the family, both to motivate himself and to educate his descendants. Unexpectedly, he was taught a lesson by his descendants today. Chapter 13: Lingqing's Transformation and the Tribe's Mission. Yan Family Alchemy Hall. In the back hall where the fragrance of spiritual materials was brewing, a handsome young man sat upright, crossed his hands, and cast a spell to extinguish the flame under the small tripod in front of him. Then he opened the lid of the tripod, and in an instant, the rich fragrance of jasmine filled the air, mixed with the scent of clear water. At this time, looking into the tripod, in the center of the small tripod, a bright yellow pill was lying. Yan Lingyu exhaled a breath of turbid air, and a light smile appeared on his face. The success rate of refining Zhanki pill has finally been raised to 100%. With my current level of alchemy, I can try to refine 2 pills in 1 furnace. Yan Lingyu took out his Zhanki pill, then put it in the jade bottle on the storage cabinet beside him, and then put it away for safekeeping. Finally, He cleaned up the surrounding debris and walked out of the house. Inhale, exhale, Yan Lingyu opened his arms, stretched his body at the same time, and took a deep breath with his whole body. At this moment, he only felt that life was infinitely beautiful. If I can become a master of alchemy, my parents and grandfather will be very happy. Yan Lingyu, you can't relax. Suddenly, his expression was restrained, and he encouraged himself. Third brother, I want to exchange for a Hengshui pill. Do you have any in stock? Yan Lingyu came back to his senses. Standing in front of him was a pretty and sweet girl. He replied, 10th sister, third brother, I just made one. Wait here, I'll get it for you. Yan Lingyu turned around and walked into the back hall, found the jade bottle that had just been put away, picked it up, and handed it to the 7th generation 10th Yan Lingyu. Yan Lingyu was very happy to get what she wanted. This Hengshui pill happened to be very useful for her practice. In the past, there were few in the family and the supply was insufficient, which led to her slow practice. Now that there are more alchemists in the Yan family, scarce things like Hengshui pills can also be obtained frequently. Third brother, you are really awesome. Yan Lingyu's cheeks suddenly felt cold, and when he reacted, Yan Lingyu had already jumped away. 10th sister, slow down, don't fall. Yan Lingyu touched his cheeks that were beginning to heat up with his hands, and a smile hung on his face, which was difficult to fade away. At the same time, he stood there, not knowing what to do for a while. The 25-year-old third child of the Yan family was actually so shy. Am I really awesome? Yan Lingyu murmured. It was the first time that Yan Lingyu heard someone use the word awesome to describe himself. The identity of an alchemist has really changed my life. Yan Lingyu's cultivation talent was poor among the 7 generations of the Yan family, with only 4 middle-grade spiritual roots. This made him progress slowly no matter how hard he practiced. He was 25 years old this year, and he had just stepped into the 5th level of key training. Many of his younger brothers and sisters who were a few years younger than him had surpassed Yan Lingyu in cultivation and left a gap. At that time, he felt that he had brought disappointment to the family, and his own will became depressed. Until 3 years ago, his talent for alchemy was discovered and a turning point appeared. He gradually became the focus of the family. He saw the pride on the faces of his family members and heard the praise from his brothers and sisters. His life was shining again. Keep up, Yan Lingyu, the young man shouted in his heart. He cherishes his current life very much. When he came back to his senses again, Yan Lingyu found that someone had sent him a message. Grandpa is looking for me. After being stunned, Yan Lingyu closed the door of the back hall and ran home without stopping. Yan Lingyu's residence is to the west of the Yan family's ancestral home. Because both of his parents are monks and are still alive, his residence is a spacious house. When he entered the house, Yan Lingyu saw an old man with a sharp expression and awe-inspiring without anger standing alone in the center of the main hall. The momentum emanating from the other party made the former breathless. The old man was Yan Jilian, the head of the Yan family, and Yan Lingyu's grandfather. Seeing the stern expression of his grandfather, Yan Lingyu shrank his neck back, bent his waist and lowered his head slightly, and walked towards the old man with a gesture of making a mistake. Grandpa, you are looking for me? Yes, Yan Jilian's voice echoed throughout the hall, and then he said in a very deep voice, Lingyu, what do you think of Lingyu? Yan Lingyu was stunned, and answered without thinking, 9th brother is a Taoist alchemist, with outstanding talent. Lingyu is ashamed of himself. At the same time, 9th brother is kind and helpful. Many of Lingyu's doubts about alchemy were solved by him, so 9th brother is also very popular. Yes, Yan Lingyu was relieved when he saw that his grandfather's face eased. However, Yan Jilian's next sentence was like a thunderbolt, shocking Yan Lingyu on the spot. Are you willing to die for Lingyu? As soon as these words came out, Yan Lingyu's mind was instantly blank. Did I commit a crime? Or did 9th brother have an accident? Why did Grandpa say that? Yan Lingyu kept searching in his mind for the reason why his grandfather said this. But it was all in vain. He wanted to say something, but it was like a lump in his throat, and he couldn't speak. The beating of his heart seemed to stop at this moment, and the whole hall became unusually quiet. Seeing that his grandson did not respond, Yan Jilian spoke again, I can tell you a clan secret. At the alchemy meeting, Lingyu did not refine a semi-finished product of gathering, but a real key nourishing pill. With Lingyu's alchemy talent, he will sooner or later become an alchemy master. As an alchemist, you should know the meaning of this better than me. Yan Ling's powerful words drilled into Yan Ling's ears word by word. It was also at this time that the 25-year-old young man realized that his cousin's talent was so terrifying. No wonder Lingyu's progress in learning alchemy was so fast. No wonder Lingyu could answer all his questions about the way of alchemy. Many doubts in Yan Ling's heart were solved. At the same time, Yan Ling's voice sounded again, colder and more ruthless than before. For Lingyu's safety, the family will let you, who is also an alchemist, attract possible attacks. If necessary, your life will even be sacrificed to save Lingyu. I have actually decided on this matter. Do you have any complaints? You can tell me now. After a moment of silence, Yan Lingyu suddenly raised his head and let out a long breath, then said, I thought I made a mistake. If this is the case, Lingyu will naturally obey the family's arrangements. Unlike his previous restraint and worry, Yan Lingyu at this moment was particularly relaxed and carefree, with a smile on his face. Then Yan Lingyu said with relief, Grandpa, you don't know how much our Yan family has changed after having 2 more alchemists. With a sufficient supply of elixirs, the cultivation speed of the clan members has been significantly improved. Even Sister Linglin, who was originally hopeless to break through, has been freed from the shackles. In the past 2 years, the smiles on the faces of the clan members have increased a lot more than before. This is just an alchemist. If a master of alchemy is really born in the family, the increase in the family's strength will be extremely exaggerated. Lingyu dreams of seeing the family grow and develop, even if it costs his life. The words of his grandson moved even a heart as hard as stone as Yan Ling. He stared at Yan Lingyu, trying to see the hidden negative resentment in the latter. But, no. Nothing. There was only a pair of clear, bright, shining eyes. Good boy. Chapter 14, The Protective Talisman, Hengshui Liuxi. In the morning, many members of the Yan family were busy in the courtyard. Today was 3 days after the attack. Yan Lingyu pushed the door open and walked towards the center of the Yan family. Just now, he received a letter from the elderly Liuxi, asking to meet him. Passing through the gorgeous and elegant corridors, Yan Lingyu felt that the scenery around him was becoming more and more familiar. Soon, an old and low attic appeared in front of him. From the moment he saw the attic, all kinds of memories of the past came to his mind, and a strong sense of intimacy swept over his whole body. It's still the same. Yan Lingyu was full of emotion. The attic he was about to enter was the residence where he lived for 100 years in his previous life. It was also the building he bought when he first came to Beatty City. This Hengshui pavilion can be regarded as the birthplace of the Yan family. In the 3 years after his memory was restored, Yan Lingyu was busy with cultivation, alchemy and family affairs, and had never come here to see it. This was also his first time in this life. What he didn't expect was that this small attic had gone through 100 years without any changes. Yan Lingyu looked around with interest and walked into the room. Inside the Hengshui pavilion, in the main hall of the first floor hung a portrait with extraordinary charm. The person on it was naturally Yan Ping, the ancestor of the Yan family. Yan Lingyu glanced at the portrait and then turned his attention to the old woman under the portrait. Clan Elder Liu. Yan Lingyu tried to make her tone respectful and bowed to show respect to the younger generation. Lingyu is here. Liu Yuxi's voice was long and lingering, giving people a sense of kindness and warmth. She also focused her attention on the young man. The old and the young stared at each other for 2 breaths, and Yan Lingyu lowered her head slightly, avoiding eye contact, and asked, Clan Elder, do you have any instructions for Lingyu? Liu Yuxi did not respond immediately, but took out an extremely gorgeous brocade bag from her sleeve, opened it, and then handed it to the latter's chest, indicating that he should take it. When Yan Lingyu saw this familiar brocade bag, he had already guessed what was inside. After a barely perceptible sigh, he took the brocade bag and twisted out the item inside. It was a dark green talisman covered with various strange inscriptions. Although the talisman was only the size of a palm, one could feel its extraordinariness from the traces of spiritual energy escaping from it. A seal talisman. A special talisman. Each seal talisman stores a high-level spell. No matter how skilled the user is, as long as the user activates it with true key, the spell in the seal will be released instantly. The materials used to make this talisman are extremely scarce, so it is very precious. It is usually given by elders to younger generations as a last resort. Yan Lingyu wasted 200 years in his previous life and only got 2 in total. He himself was reluctant to use them, so he gave them away. One was given to his eldest son Yan Boei, But unfortunately the seal was not able to save his son's life. The other was given to his most beloved disciple, Liu Lingyu. This is a seal. It contains a foundation building spell called the 10,000 Trees Floating Life spell. This is a secret treasure of the Yan family, but it is useless to me now, so I pass it on to you. Did you encounter an attack before and lose your defensive magic weapon? It just so happens that this seal can temporarily save your life. When you use it, you will not be afraid of any attack from a cultivator in the early stage of foundation building within 3 breaths, Liu introduced. Good guy. This girl completely copied the words I told her at the beginning, without even changing them, Yan Lingyu muttered in his heart. Who would have thought that this seal would come back to his hands after a long journey? Then, he did not refuse, and directly put away the talisman, bowed and thanked. Thank you for your kindness, elders. If Lingyu achieves something, I will definitely repay you. Yan Lingyu's actions made Liu stunned. She seemed to see the scene when her master was alive. The scene when Yan Ping gave her the seal talisman was also like this. In an instant, Liu returned to 100 years ago. Liu was a prominent family in the Liu family of Yingzhou. She lost her mother when she was young. Her father Liu Qiao was also an alcoholic gambler. Not only did he spend all the money that little Yuxi earned from working outside, but he also often beat and kicked young girls when they disagreed. Her childhood was bleak. But the misfortune was not only that. In the 925th year of the Daqian calendar, the beast-tide broke through the garrison of the 10,000 mountains and went straight into all parts of Yingzhou. Many small cities and counties were affected, including Liujia County where Liu was. Overnight, homes were destroyed and people died, and the entire Liujia County was filled with wailing and roaring. At this time, Liu was only 8 years old. Her father Liu Qiao was nowhere to be found. She could only curl up in a corner and wait for possible rescue alone. However, before the monks could help her, she was found by the monster that ate everything. Facing the sharp fangs and the bloody mouth, she was completely overwhelmed by despair. However, just when Xiao thought she was going to die in the monster's mouth, a middle-aged monk stood in front of her. The middle-aged monk had an upright figure, like a sword piercing the sky. Although only a back could be seen, it gave people a strong sense of security. In the midst of surprises, Xiao could no longer hold back the pain in her heart and cried out. Her exhausted body could no longer support her and was about to fall. At the end of her consciousness, she only felt that she was embraced in a warm and stable embrace. When Xiao woke up, she had already arrived at the family of the middle-aged monk. Only then did she know that the middle-aged monk was the head of the Yan family and the foundation-building monk Yan Ping. Later, Liu was found to have spiritual roots and a special spiritual body, and was a promising talent. Even Yan Ping asked her if she was willing to be his apprentice. Liu naturally agreed with joy. In this way, she settled down in the Yan family for a long time. At first, because she was an outsider, she was often rejected by her peers, and Yan Ping's grandchildren were unwilling to play with her. Only Yan Ping treated her the same way. Not only did he teach her to read and write, but he also guided her in her cultivation alone. It was only later that Liu learned that because Yan Ping treated her well, Yan Zhuangzi and other descendants of Yan Ping excluded her out of jealousy. Those days were the most carefree and happy time in Liu's life. However, the moon has its ups and downs, and people have their joys and sorrows. Decades later, Yan Ping's health deteriorated until he was on the verge of death. Liu still remembers the day when she was called to Yan Ping's side, and the haggard and old look of her master. It was also at that time that she realized that she no longer had the opportunity to repay her master's kindness. So, she chose to inherit Yan Ping's will and revitalize the Yan family. Before Yan Ping's death, it was stipulated that the funeral could only be held when the Yan family had a second foundation-building cultivator. Therefore, Liu practiced hard every day, and finally succeeded in building the foundation, becoming the second pillar of the Yan family. Until now, when he has become a clan elder, Liu has devoted himself to the Yan family. Master, back to the present, the elderly Liu murmured, with tears in his eyes. Yan Lingyu's heart suddenly throbbed and inexplicably ached. He felt the old woman's emotional changes, and forcibly resisted the urge to recognize her, and asked softly, "Clan elder?" Liu turned around and whispered, "Lingyu, go back first. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15, the Zhang family invites you to research the foundation pill formula, and the Yan family debates about it. A few days later, at the main gate of the Yan family's ancestral home, Zijin is a secular warrior, in the realm of innateness, with extraordinary skills, but his job is to be a gatekeeper. Of course, he is very satisfied with his current job. The Yan family is large and powerful, and the monthly salary is as high as 60 silver taels, which is almost equal to the annual expenses of a family of 3. Salary is secondary. The most important thing is to be close to the Yan family, a foundation-building family, this huge mountain. There were more than 100 people competing with him for this position, each of whom was a well-known figure in the world, but in the end, it was obtained by Zijin, which was enough for him to brag about for the rest of his life. Because of this job, he even married 2 beautiful young ladies from business families. At the same time, he received gifts and tributes every year, and his life was so comfortable. Who is coming? This is the territory of the Yan family. Get out of here. Seeing a stranger approaching, Zijin raised his hand and swung his sword, and shouted angrily with a majestic voice. The man who came was a bald man. He was not angry even when he was scolded. He handed over a white letter with a smile on his face. Beking Zhang family, please give this letter to your head Yan Jilian. Zijin's momentum stagnated, and he said to himself, Beking Zhang family is also a famous immortal cultivation family with the Yan family. I'd better not provoke them. At the same time, he also saw that the letter was shining with stars. It was not an ordinary thing. He had to be cautious at this time. Then Zijin nodded, took the envelope, and walked towards the depths of Yan's house. Master, a letter from Beking Zhang family, show it to me. You go back to guard your post first. Yes, master. At this time, Yan Jilian was handling official business. Seeing the servants handing over a letter, which was from the Zhang family, he became a little alert. The envelope was cold to the touch, and it was faintly wrapped in magic power. Not to mention mortals, even ordinary cultivators could not open it. HMPH, Yan Jilian hummed, and used his deep key to open the seal of the envelope, then took out the letter inside, wanting to see what the Zhang family was up to. On the white paper was written, the incomplete formula of the foundation building pill. The Zhang family invites the Yan family to jointly study and perfect it. Please ask the Yan family's alchemist to rush to Beking City within 1 day. In an instant, Yan Jilian's eyes widened, unbelievable, and a huge wave of waves rose in his heart. After a short days, the head of the Yan family urgently cast a few spells, and several streams of light fled to the heads of the family. Yan Jilian's breathing became more and more rapid. After a while, people entered the Yan family meeting hall one after another. The clan elder Liu Yuxi, 2 fourth-generation clan elders Yan Renzhong and Yan Ren, the 5th generation, Yan Jikun, Yan Jijing, Yan Jikin, the 6th generation boss Yan Yingling and the alchemist Sumo, and the 7th generation 2 alchemists, Yan Lingyu and Yan Linking. What happened to Jilian? Why are you so serious? Liu Yuxi said solemnly. If nothing big happened, the head of the Yan family would not have gathered so many important people. Everyone looked at Yan Jilian. The latter did not say much, took a deep breath, and briefly described the invitation from the Zhang family. What? The remaining formula of the foundation building pill, study together, Zhang family. For a while, the senior members of the Yan family kept exclaiming. Jilian, what do you think? Liu Yuxi asked with a frown. Elder Liu, I just sent a letter to ask several other forces, including the Bai family, the Lu family, and the Tiger sect. They have all received invitations from the Zhang family. In my opinion, combined with the actions of the Zhang family in recent years, this is really possible, otherwise they would not have made such a big fuss, Yan Jilian also said seriously, and then he added, but I always feel that the Zhang family has no good intentions, so I called you all together to discuss this matter. As soon as the voice fell, the meeting hall fell into a brief silence. Everyone present was thinking about what the Zhang family intended to do with this move. Yan Renzhong was the first to speak. I think this is a Hongman banquet, no need to pay too much attention to it. Recently, the Yan family gave birth to 2 alchemists, and the finances have just improved, and it is thriving. The Zhang family is anxious, so naturally they want to make a plan to obstruct it. After he finished speaking, A clan member echoed, "Uncle Wu is right. Normally, getting a foundation building pill is like ascending to heaven, but the Zhang family wants to participate in the research of the foundation building pill formula, and the timing is so coincidental, at the critical juncture when the Yan family is getting rid of the decline. And now Jidao is not in the clan. If you want to send someone, probably the two younger generations will have to go. If the Zhang family wants to kill secretly, it will be difficult to protect other people's territory. If Linking Lingyu is lost, it will cut off the foundation of my Yan family. Where there are opponents, there are naturally supporters." The head of the finance hall, Yan Jikin, looked solemn and retorted, "The foundation building pill is of extraordinary significance. At the auction, even if it is priced at 10,000 spirit stones per pill, it is still in short supply. If we can really research the formula of the foundation building pill, coupled with the attainments of the family alchemist, the power of our Yan family will surely increase tenfold within 100 years. The importance of the foundation building pill was deeply understood by those present. After all, the key refining stage is still Immortal's plan, and the foundation building stage is the beginning of becoming an immortal. Key refining and foundation building are the difference between immortals and mortals, and it is as difficult as ascending to heaven to break through. Just the step of key infusion alone has made countless key refining level 9 cultivators sigh in despair and stop moving forward. The consequences of a failed breakthrough are serious, ranging from serious injuries to death. Only cultivators with great luck and determination dare to try. Therefore, in ancient times, there were very few cultivators above the foundation building stage. Fortunately, later a powerful alchemist developed the foundation building pill, a magical pill that helps build the foundation. The foundation building pill can increase the success rate of foundation building. Not only that, it can also reduce the damage after the failure of foundation building. In short, in the past, if you failed to build a foundation, you would lose the possibility of turning over. Now with a foundation building pill, you can have more chances. This is also the reason why the human race is prosperous now. But the human race is not a monolithic entity. There are interests and power struggles. The upgrade code like the foundation building pill is destined to be in the hands of the superiors. Only the big forces and big sects can master the method of refining the foundation building pill. If casual cultivators and small forces want to become foundation building cultivators, in addition to forcibly building a foundation at the risk of death, they can only rely on the strong in exchange for the foundation building pill. The Yan family is such a small force. Now the Yan family has only one foundation building pill left, but there are 5 9th level key training cultivators. Why didn't these 9th level key training clansmen use the foundation building pill to break through the foundation and revitalize the Yan family when the family was in trouble a few years ago? Failure in foundation building is a small matter. They are more afraid of wasting this foundation building pill, and just want to wait for clansmen who are more likely to be promoted to foundation building to use it. For the Yan family, the foundation building pill is really precious. Compared with the precious foundation building pill, the foundation building pill formula is a priceless treasure, which means that it can produce countless foundation building pills. Yan Lingyu in the crowd listened and looked solemn. If he could really develop a complete pill formula from the remaining foundation building pill formula, then his family score in this life would definitely be very high, and the talent he would get in the next life would be stronger. Ask a question: do readers prefer to fight monsters? Chapter 16 Lingyu's Shock, the final conclusion. In the Yan family meeting hall, the senior leaders continued to discuss. Finance Director Yan Jikin said, "Our Yan family has the largest number of alchemists among all the forces in Yingzhou. Moreover, Linking Lingyu has a great chance to become an alchemist master. The refining of the foundation building pill only requires the refiner to reach the level of an alchemist master, which means that the efficiency of producing foundation building pills in the future will be very high. Once the efficiency of the foundation building pill is high, the excess share can be sold to earn spiritual stones, which can prepare for the Yan family's external expansion. By then, even if the Zhang family also benefits from it and there is friction between the two families, the Yan family will have an extra way out and will not be entangled." As soon as Yan Jikin finished speaking, Yan Jikin on the side blushed and retorted, "Everything you said is based on the premise that the Zhang family really has the remaining formula of the foundation building pill. If the Zhang family really has the remaining formula of the foundation building pill, why should they share it? They can eat it all by themselves, and their own research is just a matter of speed. In my opinion, this is just a trap set by the other party. The purpose is to lure out my Yan family members, and then encircle and annihilate my Yan family. Even the Bai and Lu families are in cahoots with the Zhang family, working together, just waiting for us to step into the trap, Yan Jikun said, looking at Liu Yuxi, his eyes solemn, and said solemnly, Elder Liu, this is a scam, you must not be fooled. After listening to Yan Jikun's words, everyone nodded and felt that it made sense. Yan Renshong once again supported, now that the Yan family is on the right track, the 4 great alchemists are in charge, and the development of the various places under its jurisdiction is getting better and better. As long as we endure for a few more years, develop slowly for a few years, and eliminate the remaining pains and hidden dangers, then the future of my Yan family will be smooth sailing. Even if there is no foundation building pill formula, we can slowly earn foundation building pills. The voices opposing participation in the joint research of the pill formula reached a peak. Even the financial hall master of the support faction bowed his head to reflect on whether there was a problem with his idea. The residual formula of the foundation building pill is a good thing, but its existence is still unknown. Even if it does exist, it is more difficult than imagined to transform it into a foundation building pill formula and then into a foundation building pill. What's more, the remaining foundation building pill formula is not in the hands of the Yan family. Even if it is in the Bai family and the Lu family, it is easy to talk about it, but it is in the Zhang family, which is incompatible with the Yan family. This has to be considered for the safety of their own family. It seems that the situation has been decided. The top leaders of the Yan family looked at Liu Yuxi and let her make the final decision. In fact, Liu Yuxi had been watching from the sidelines and never joined the discussion. She had already made up her mind, but she just wanted to see if she could find the flaws in her idea through brainstorming. Suddenly, Liu Yuxi saw Yan Lingyu frowning behind the crowd. She took back what she wanted to say and chose to ask the latter first. Lingyu, what do you think? Seeing the elder suddenly asking Yan Lingyu's opinion, some of the top leaders of the Yan family were stunned, while others suddenly realized. Those who suddenly realized knew that Yan Lingyu had the potential to be a master of alchemy and had a say in the matter of foundation building pills. The young man who became the focus did not immediately put forward his own opinion, but asked a question in a proper manner. Elder Liu and all the elders, Lingyu wants to ask, if the Yan family's ancestral home is surrounded by more than 5 foundation building cultivators, can the clan protection formation withstand it? Yan Lingyu's voice made all the clan members silent. The head of the family, Yan Jilian, said confidently, the Yan family's clan protection formation was originally arranged by the ancestor Yan Ping. It is called the Yiqihangyang 9 turns formation. This formation is considered excellent among the Zhuan level formations. But no matter how good the formation is, it has its limits. After all, the Yiqihangyang 9 turns formation is only a Zhuan level formation. It is a bit difficult to contend with 5 foundation building cultivators. After speaking, Yan Jilian stared at Yan Lingyu. As the head of the family, he had already understood what the latter wanted to express. After receiving the reply, Yan Lingyu nodded. Of course, he knew the answer better than anyone else present, because he was Yan Ping in his previous life. Yan Lingyu took a deep breath and said word by word, what if the Zhang family really has a partial recipe, and they really figure out the complete recipe and can refine the foundation building pill by themselves? Maybe in 10 years, maybe 20 years, the Zhang family will definitely give birth to several foundation building cultivators, so how should my Yan family deal with it? As soon as this statement came out, everyone began to think deeply. Now, in the absence of Yan Renming, the Yan family has only 1 foundation building cultivator, which is at an absolute disadvantage compared to the 3 people of the Zhang family. But the Zhang family did not do anything out of line, such as killing the lone members of the Yan family who went out to weaken the Yan family's strength. Why is this? Because there is Liu Yuxi who the Zhang family cannot deal with, and there is a clan protection formation that the Zhang family cannot tear apart. They are afraid that if they really push the Yan family into a corner, the Yan family will be doomed to fail. If they really tear their faces apart and both sides start hunting for clan members with insufficient cultivation, it will be a fatal blow to both families. Therefore, a delicate balance has emerged. The Zhang family discovered the foundation building pill formula, and the number of high-level cultivators increased. The absolute force could suppress all counterattacks. At this time, the balance would be broken. The Yan family's so-called keeping a low profile and developing slowly no longer existed. The opposition Yan Jikun gritted his teeth and said, Lingyu, The possibility of what you are worried about happening is too small. Do you want to take the lives of everyone in the Yan family to bet that it won't happen? Yan Lingyu glanced at him coldly. The Zhang family must have his confidence to use this as bait. Can you guarantee that the other party will not have any remnants? At this time, he felt angry. He was angry that the clan members present did not realize the seriousness of the matter. He was angry that the clan members chose to give the initiative to others in terms of life and death. Yan Jikun felt the amazing momentum from the young man in front of him. He was extremely angry when he was contradicted by the younger generation. But after noticing the young man's eyes that looked like a 1,000-year-old cold mountain, his body began to tremble. For some reason, Yan Jikun felt fear and surrender in his heart, and for a while he dared not say another word. The others were also shocked. At the same time, they were also surprised at the transformation of Yan Lingyu, from the original elegant and easygoing to the domineering and proud. Among all the people present, Yan Lingyu is the youngest and the lowest in seniority. But his momentum is the strongest. None of the senior members of the Yan family dared to look Yan Lingyu in the eye. Among them, there was one exception, and that was the elder of the Liu clan. At this moment, Liu Yuxi looked at the energetic Yan Lingyu and was also shocked in her heart, but also felt relieved that the Yan family had a better successor after her. Liu Yuxi took over the words, glanced at the Yan family members, and said kindly, "You should reflect on it. Your sense of crisis has been paralyzed by years of stability. In the face of danger, you instinctively choose to escape and lack the spirit of struggle. From the beginning, there was only one result of the Zhang family's invitation, and that is to go." Chapter 17. The dust has settled, cold-blooded Renming. The world of immortal cultivation is full of strict hierarchy and dangers. Weak forces are walking on thin ice in such an environment. If they take a wrong step, they may fall into the abyss. Therefore, they have to be cautious and careful in every step they take. In the Yan family meeting hall, Yan Lingyu slowly walked to the middle of the crowd, glanced around, and said, "Since you are worried that it is a trap, then send someone to the Zhang family to find out the truth. First, we need to confirm the authenticity of the remaining formula of the foundation building pill, which requires an alchemist, and secondly, a senior member of the Yan family will have to negotiate with the Zhang family. In this way, even if the Zhang family is really cheating, we will lose at most 2 people, and we can maintain our manpower, and then we can develop with peace of mind." At this point, Yan Lingyu looked at Yan Jikun again. He was still unhappy with someone, and said with a little disdain in his coldness, "I can be the alchemist in this mission." Lingyu sees that third grandpa is still strong and healthy. "Do you dare to go with me, a junior?" After hearing the former's words, Yan Jikun was furious, and his gray beard stood upside down. He had lived for more than 70 years, and he had never been ridiculed by his own juniors like this. Yan Jikun had the cultivation level of the 8th level of key training, so how could he be completely intimidated by his own juniors? After he had gotten rid of all distractions and cheered up, he pointed at Yan Lingyu with one hand and said, "Do you think that all of us elders are cowards? Why should we be afraid of going with you?" In fact, when the young man told him about the remnant, Yan Jikun had already agreed with his words in his heart, but he couldn't swallow the fact that he didn't know how to respect the elderly. Yan Jikun turned to the Liu clan elder and said with disgust, "Lingyu's disrespectful behavior must be punished, otherwise it will affect the family tradition." However, Liu Yuxi's answer was, "Jikun, it's a good thing for young people to have some personality. Liu Yuxi likes people who are not afraid of power and dare to give advice. She believes that if a family wants to prosper, it needs such people to correct the chaos. The Yan family is a clan system, and its internal bond is the power of blood, which inevitably leads to the saying of blood suppression. The younger generation is born inferior to the elders and has insufficient voice. For example, Yan Yingling and Yan Lingyu at this time, they are the representatives of the 6th and 7th generations of the clan respectively, but they can only be submissive and can't get a word in at such a high-level meeting. Of course, it's not their fault. If Yan Ping were alive, Liu Yuxi would hesitate to refute Yan Ping. Filial piety is the most important thing, and it's just like that. It's also because of this that Yan Lingyu's character is even more precious." Liu Yuxi's eyes sparkled, and she felt that this young man was perfect. The only flaw was that Yan Lingyu was too brave, as if he was not afraid of death, which made people worry a little. So, the elder of the Liu clan secretly looked at the head of the family. The head of the family, Yan Jilian, understood and said to ease the atmosphere, "This is indeed a good idea. but the candidates have to be changed. Third brother, you have a hot temper, and Lingyu is too young. Then Linking and I will go. Yan Jilian turned his eyes to Yan Lingyu. Like Liu Yuxi, he also had high hopes for this young man. Whether it is talent or wisdom, it is the best choice. Now that he is facing the elders, he looks at him differently. If Yan Lingyu was not an alchemist and had to spend time on alchemy, Yan Jilian might have trained him to be the next head of the family. The most important thing for a head of the family is to be fair and strict, and to treat all clansmen of different identities equally. There will be no favoritism, nor will there be deliberate avoidance. In comparison, Yan Lingyu is too suitable for the position of head of the family, as if he had been the head of the family. That kind of innate leadership aura is not easy to possess. Yan Lingyu looked at Yan Jilian deeply, understood what he meant, and said no more. It was nothing more than a rhetoric of high value and not being able to take risks. As the conclusion was settled, Liu Yuxi began to give orders. 1. Urgently recall the outbound clansmen to ensure that they are not ambushed on the way to the Zhang family. 2. Order to eliminate suspicious people in Beatty City to prevent the tiger from leaving the mountain and the news from being leaked. 3. Purchase a batch of magic tools to expand combat power. 4. Send someone to deliver a letter to Yan Renming, asking him to return to the clan as soon as possible. That night, a large-scale search began in Beatty City. Anyone without documents to enter the city was detained and placed under centralized control. Combined with the fact that Yan Lingyu was attacked the day before yesterday, the world thought that the Yan family was just cleaning up the killer. Somewhere in the Shiwen Mountains, there is a towering snow-capped peak, and a rushing river flows down from the top of the peak, which is magnificent. This peak is called Qianchi Peak. It is one of the 9 peaks of Hengshui sect. There is a cave on the hillside of Qianchi Peak, and a feminine man is meditating in the cave. The man looks to be in his early 30s, with long hair down to his waist, a calm expression, and a faint sense of transcendence. This man is Yan Renming, a member of the Yan family for 4 generations, who entered the Hengshui sect and has reached the middle stage of foundation building. Suddenly, Yan Renming seemed to notice something and slowly opened his eyes. In front of him was a spiritual wooden bird flying up and down. The bird of letter technique is a long-distance communication technique. Each use requires a puppet wooden bird, which is expensive, but it can travel thousands of miles a day and is very concealed, so it is highly valued by monks from all walks of life today. After taking a quick glance at the wooden bird, Yan Renming realized that it was a letter from his family, but he frowned and said disturbing in annoyance. Then, he used his spiritual sense to explore and soon understood the incident. Foundation building pill formula? There are some opportunities, but I have already established my foundation. What does this have to do with me? Moreover, going deep into the Zhang family is full of dangers, so it's better not to go. Yan Renming was about to reply and refuse directly, but suddenly thought of something. It seems that a talented alchemist has been born in the clan, which is of some use to my path. It's better not to deepen the conflict with the clan. Then, Yan Renming grabbed the wooden bird, moved his consciousness, engraved the information, and declined politely. Renming is at a critical juncture of cultivation and cannot withdraw. Liu Gu has to face it alone. Renming is ashamed. After speaking, he slowly let go, and the wooden bird flew towards Daqian. Yan Renming closed his eyes again and made up his mind to sit down. Late at night. Yan's Anxiang Pavilion. In the Anxiang Pavilion, Liu Yuxi was explaining things to the head of the family and several alchemists, and a wooden bird flew in front of her. Liu Yuxi checked the wooden bird's message. As soon as his spiritual sense detected it, he flicked his sleeves and cursed. What a traitor to the clan, Yan Renming. As smart as Liu Yuxi was, how could she not see Yan Renming's thoughts? The other party regarded the Yan family as a burden. What's this, elder? The head of the family, Yan Jilian, stepped forward to ask. Humph, Yan Renming is not coming. He wants to retreat. Liu Yuxi was so angry that his voice trembled. Yan Jilian was shocked and said gently, calm down, elder, maybe third uncle is really busy. I don't know how many spiritual stones the Yan family spends on Yan Renming every year, but in the past 50 years, has he given anything back to the Yan family? Now that the remaining formula of the foundation building pill has appeared, it is related to the future plan of the Yan family. What could be more important than this? Jilian turned around and said hello to Ji Qin, deducting all the salary expenses of Yan Renming. This, hey, Yan Jilian sighed helplessly. What Liu Yuxi said was true. He was also angry with the other party. even if that person was his uncle. What Liu Yan and the others didn't notice was that Yan Lingyu's gaze gradually turned cold among the people present. Chapter 18. The clansmen from all over the country have returned. How can the younger generation take risks? The next day, Zhang family in Peking. In front of the neat and clean documents, Zhang Henghui, the elder of the Zhang family, looked at the file in his hand, suddenly raised his head and shook his head. The Yan family is decisive. They responded as soon as they received the information. I thought they would take a while. On the contrary, the Lu and Bai families kept probing like thieves with guilty consciences. I didn't want to take action against these two families for fear of getting myself dirty. Zhang Henghui was a little surprised. Although he knew from the beginning that the Yan family was willing to come, he didn't expect the other party to make a decision so quickly. In other words, if it was the Yan family who invited them over this time, they, the Zhang family, would definitely treat it with caution and would not set off until they had a general understanding of the situation. From this point, it can be seen that the extraordinary qualities of the Yan family are not only strategic, but also courageous. Then, Zhang Henghui turned the page of the file. When he saw the content on the next page, even a calm person like him couldn't help but laugh out loud. Good. That Yan Renming can come. The file contained a letter from the Hengshui clan. There were indeed wooden birds entering and exiting the cave of Hengshui Yan Renming, but after receiving the message, he not only did not move, but opened the restrictions and closed the gate. Haha, this Yan Renming's cultivation in the middle stage of foundation building is indeed troublesome. Fortunately, this person is a selfish and self-interested abandoned clan villain. By then, the Yan family will only have Liu Yuxi and a group of key training cultivators, and they will be fish at the mercy of others. Then Yan Zhuangsu gave birth to such a son, and his reputation was really ruined in an instant. Zhang Henghui couldn't stop smiling. When he was still young, the people of Yingzhou always compared him with Yan Zhuangsu, calling them the two prides of Yingzhou, and the latter's momentum was even stronger. But 100 years later, one of the proud ones has already passed away, and Yan Zhuangsu can no longer be compared with Zhang Henghui. It's a pity that Yan Renming didn't leave any offspring, and he himself is far away in Hengshui sect and can't take power. If he had a son in the Yan family, the Yan family would probably destroy itself due to family conflicts. I'm also impatient. Even without these, the day of destroying the Yan family is coming soon. On the other side, the sky gradually darkened, and the Yan family compound was very lively. Yesterday, Liu Yuxi spread the call, and all the Yan family members who were away had returned. Yan Lingyu was in the main courtyard of the Yan family at this time, talking with the clan members. Lingyu, I haven't seen you for more than 10 years. You have grown so big. I heard that you became an alchemist. It's really amazing. The person who spoke was a short and thin old man with a pair of sharp phoenix eyes. Even if you look at each other for a while, your eyes will feel painful as if they are stabbed. The old man's name is Yan Jichuan. He is 63 this year. He is the 8th oldest among the 5 generations and one of the 5 9th-level key practitioners in the Yan family. Yan Jichuan is a swordsman. When he was young, he followed the Dacian imperial army and experienced dozens of battles. He was rewarded by Dacian with a top-grade magical weapon, the Flame Dragon Sword. In the Yan family, he often teaches young clansmen how to cultivate and practice physical skills. He is deeply loved by the younger generation. Originally, the foundation building pill in the family could be given to him, but Yan Jichuan declined. He thought that if he worked hard for a few more years, he could get a foundation building pill himself. Maybe in 5 years, the Yan family will have another foundation building cultivator. 8th Grandpa, I didn't expect that even you are back. I heard from 5th Grandpa that you were still happy in the capital of Dacian last year. Isn't this the elder of the clan responding to the call? I happened to travel to the next county, so I came back to take a look. By the way, Zhao Lingyu, do you know what happened? Before Yan Lingyu could reply, 2 tall women wearing soft armor and heroic figures came towards him. They greeted, 8th grandfather, 9th brother. These 2 were the eldest and 2nd oldest of the 7 generations of disciples of the Yan family, Yan Lingxin and Yan Linglong. Like the 8th grandfather Yan Jichuan, they went out to explore the world when they were young and were also well known. Now both of them are at the 6th level of key training and are quite proficient in the use of wood-based Taoist techniques. They are called the 2 beauties of the Yan family. Because of their beautiful and generous appearance and outstanding cultivation, the Yan family often has people who come to propose marriage. 9th brother, tell me quickly, Are we going to attack the Zhang family? Yan Lingyu said softly, with a hint of uneasiness and worry. The letter they received did not introduce the details. They only knew that they were going to the Zhang family this time, and there might be disputes. Considering today's situation, it is hard not to associate it with the crusade against the Zhang family. Yan Lingyu thought for a while and said, the elder of the Liu clan has other arrangements, and I don't know the details. Yan Lingyu did not tell the truth for two reasons. First of all, the foundation building pill formula is too important. The more people know about it, the greater the possibility of it being leaked. By then, it will attract forces from other states, and the situation will be more chaotic, and it may even lead to new dangers. Second, there are risks in this trip. The clansmen may die because of it. Not telling the truth can better mobilize the retreat. After all, the clansmen are connected by blood and have deep feelings. When the emotions rise, it will be difficult to stop them from fighting with the Zhang family. Yan Jichuan sighed. It's hidden so tightly, he lost interest. Stinky boy, you still know how to come back. Suddenly, a thunder exploded in the courtyard. I saw the third master Yan Jikun was preaching to a man. The man's appearance is 70% similar to the third master. He looks to be in his early 30s and is extremely handsome. In addition, even when he is accused, he still has an evil and unruly smile on his lips. He is indeed extraordinary. This man is Yan Yinglian, the second son of Yan Jikun and the fourth uncle of Yan Lingyu. Yan Yinglian was a famous playboy. It was said that he had affairs with many women at the same time. The most famous woman was the daughter of the princess of Hengshui County. When Yan Jikun learned that his son was in love with the princess's daughter, he was so happy. He asked Yan Yinglian to cut off contact with other women, focus on the princess's daughter, and strive to bring a big backer to the Yan family. However, Yan Yinglian not only refused by saying that he and several women were true love, but also disappeared from home for several years and only reappeared today. No wonder Yan Jikun would catch him and scold him in public without fear of embarrassment. Just when everyone's attention was attracted by the father and son, Yan Lingyu felt a heavy palm patted on his shoulder. Turning around, the person in front of him was a little surprising. Fifth grandpa, why are you back? Aren't you studying at the Ma family? The person who came was Yan Jidao, the head of the Yan family's alchemy hall. I already know the details of the matter, so I rush back without stopping. You and Linking are still young and have a bright future. How can I let you take risks? I am old and have no potential. It is better for us old guys to go deep into the tiger's den. Fifth master narrowed his eyes and smiled. As the most experienced alchemist in the Yan family, if the remaining formula of the Zhang family is true, he must also join the research, so he was told the specific cause and effect of the matter. It was also at this moment that Yan Lingyu learned that the candidate to go to the Zhang family to find out the authenticity of the remaining formula was changed from Lingyu linking to fifth master. You must be careful when you go. Ha. Don't worry. By the way, why didn't I see Lingyan? Seventh sister went out to hone her skills. She may be entangled by other things. Chapter 19 Arriving in Peking, ready to die. Zhuanai continent is vast and extraordinary, with numerous dynasties, sects, and religious sects. The Dacian dynasty is located on the east coast of the continent, with 100,000 mountains to the south, abundant mineral veins, and relics everywhere. The flawless land to the north, with numerous secret realms and spiritual materials. The Great Zhou and the Great Shuang to the west, with friendly exchanges and convenient trade. The endless sea area to the east, with inexhaustible marine resources. The power of the Dacian dynasty can be said to be unique. At the same time, Dacian is also a region where the power of the dynasty is stronger than that of the sects, and monks and mortals can almost coexist. Forces like Hengshui sect, Taiyai sect, Luohao Palace, and Lingsa Palace, which are guarded by powerful monks in the nascent soul stage, are beyond the secular world, but they are also subject to the enfeoffment and dispatch of the Dacian royal family. The Great Shuang dynasty next door was different. The Great Shuang royal family was a mortal force, so all the power of the Great Shuang was concentrated in the hands of various sects. There was a difference between immortals and mortals. In the Great Shuang, the court was just a tool to help manage mortals. In the Great Jin dynasty, there were 8 departments, 39 counties, 258 states, 2,005 cities, and countless counties and towns. It can be said that the territory was tens of millions of miles, with rich resources and affluent people. The Yingzhou where the Yan family was located belonged to Xiaonan County and was almost connected to the Shiwen Mountains. The entire state was in a long strip from northwest to southeast. The state capital Peking City was in the northwest, and Beatty City was in the southeast of Yingzhou, tens of thousands of miles apart. Even for a cultivator who could go to heaven and hide underground, it would take a whole day to go through the two places. After the Yan family received the message from the Zhang family, they were fully prepared within a day and a half and set off. This time, the Yan family dispatched a total of 30 cultivators, including Liu Yuxi, a foundation-building cultivator, 2 fourth-generation clansmen, several fifth-generation clansmen, and half of the sixth-generation clansmen. The seventh-generation descendants are 2 alchemists and the 2 Yan family sisters. The rest of the clansmen guarded the family. Treat this incident at the highest level. At the same time, in order to prevent sudden attacks from the Zhang family or other forces, the head of the Yan family took the avenue where caravans or Dacian's imperial guards often pass by, and divided into 3 groups, with a gap of more than 10 miles in between, moving forward alternately and covering each other. It was not until they approached the gate of Peking City and did not encounter any abnormalities that the Yan family members breathed a sigh of relief. Peking City is the prefecture after all, and it is the territory of Dacian. The Yan family and the Zhang family are both Dacian families. If there is a commotion in the city, the state lord will definitely not sit idly by. The state lord of Yingzhou has the strength of the late foundation building period. If he enters the battlefield, no one will be able to get away with it. Waiter, do you know what major events have happened in Peking City in recent days? In a private room of Tongfuan, Yan Lingyu slightly concealed his true face and asked the waiter beside him while ordering dishes. There were also several members of the Yan family sitting next to him. Since he had arrived in Peking City, the next step was to enter the Zhang family. He asked about the situation in Peking City in order to get some clues about the Zhang family. Senior, you asked the right person. There are many fellow practitioners in my Tongfuan, and it is also a good place to get information. The waiter was just a low-level casual cultivator at the first level of key training, but he had a good mouth and was able to talk. He talked about everything that happened in Peking City, saving Yan Lingyu a lot of trouble. In recent days, many members of the Zhang family who had been away from home have returned, just like the Yan family. Not only that, high-level cultivators from other places often appear. Even a small figure like the waiter knew that a storm was coming. Waiter, are you saying that the Lord of Yingzhou has had close contact with the Zhang family recently? Yan Jidao, the fifth master wearing a straw hat beside Yan Lingyu, suddenly asked. That's right, senior. Even the Lord of the state is considered to be living in the Zhang family. The waiter's affirmative answer made the Yan family members look at each other in shock. The Lord of Yingzhou is the Lord of Peking City, and controls all the Dacian imperial guards in Peking City, as well as the city defense formation. The minimum promotion standard for the Dacian imperial guards is the 3rd level of key training. A main city is equipped with at least 500 people, and the city defense formation is even better than the Yan family's Yikihungyang Jiazun formation. If the other party really colluded with the Zhang family and wanted to harm the Yan family, then Peking City would no longer be safe. Yan Jidao cast a spell to transmit the information here to the large army outside. After doing this, he looked at Yan Lingyu again and said in a voice transmission, Lingyu, fortunately we didn't rush into the city together, otherwise we would have been wiped out. It is dangerous, you should go outside the city to find the Liu clan elders first. However, Yan Lingyu's opinion was different from that of several clansmen. He put 2 dishes in his mouth and said slowly, if the state lord really wants to harm my Yan family, with his cultivation, he can secretly negotiate with the Zhang family's senior management, and others will not be able to find out. Now that the state lord has a close relationship with the Zhang family, everyone in Peking City knows it, which can prove that he will not take action against the Yan family. Moreover, the state lord can get close to the Zhang family regardless of the gossip of the world. There must be something in the Zhang family that the state lord cannot refuse. Maybe the residual formula of the foundation building pill is real, although the state lord of Yingzhou works for the royal family of Dacian and has a good salary. The salary is a fixed salary after all. The state lord also has his own family, and he also has his own desires and wants. He also wants to make further progress in his cultivation, so he needs more ways to earn spirit stones. Selling the foundation building pill secretly is a way to make a lot of money. In fact, Yan Lingyu believed from the beginning that the Zhang family did have the residual foundation building pill, although he didn't know how the other party got it. But this is an open conspiracy. If the foundation building pill is jointly developed, everyone will be happy. If it fails, it can also take the opportunity to reduce the Yan family's wings, which is a win-win situation. No matter which family it is, they would be willing to do this. You are right, Lingyu. After receiving the voice transmission, the fifth master Yan Jidao thought about it alone, and then agreed. At this moment, the door of the private room opened, and Liu Yuxi, who was dressed in honor, walked in. Liu Clan Elder, well, I received your message and felt that there was no danger, so I came in first. After all, Liu Yuxi was the descendant of Yan Ping, so she could naturally understand the state master's intention. She glanced at everyone and continued to transmit the voice. Jidao, the matter of the remaining formula of the foundation building pill is probably true. You should get ready and set off with Jilian immediately to the Zhang family. It should not be too dangerous at this point, but just in case, you still need to be more careful. If everything is normal, come out in person within 3 hours to inform us. If the Zhang family really has bad intentions, Liu Yuxi said this and did not say anything else. Yan Jidao took over and replied, if the Zhang family really has bad intentions, Elder Liu should tell the clan members to evacuate, and there is no need to rescue them. Then I will start a massacre in the Zhang family, haha. After saying that, he touched his chest pocket, which contained 2 powerful blasting talismans. If they really detonated, even if there were many foundation building cultivators in the Zhang family, they would have to drink a pot of water. Yan Jidao clasped his fists to greet the surrounding clan members, and then turned and left. Chapter 20. The recipe really exists, and the Zhang family has no choice but to share it. The Zhang family courtyard is located in the west of Peking City, just 2 streets away from the prefecture lord's mansion. The style of the house is grand and the scale is magnificent, worthy of being a foundation building family that has been passed down for 600 years. When Yan Jiliang and Yan Jidao arrived at the door of the Zhang family, the door was wide open, and they could see teams of monks patrolling inside. There were not only members of the Zhang family, but also Peking imperial guards, who were the people of the Yingzhou prefecture lord. The 2 senior members of the Yan family looked at each other, and they were all startled and more serious. Who are the 2 seniors? The gatekeeper clearly saw that Yan Jiliang and Yan Jidao were extraordinary, and humbly stepped forward to ask. We are Yan Jiliang, the head of the Yan family, and Yan Jidao, the alchemist. We are invited by the Zhang family to meet you, Yan Jiliang said lightly. After learning about his identity, the other party's expression became more respectful, and said, it turns out to be Senior Yan, please come in, the master has been waiting for a long time. So, the 2 Yans cheered up and followed the guide to the depths of the Zhang family courtyard. Second brother, those seem to be from the Bai family. Bai Lingyu, who is said to be invincible under the foundation building stage, is also here. Yan Jidao transmitted his voice. Along the way, the 2 found that in the Zhang family, there were not only Zhang clan members and servants, but also many people who were dressed in a way that did not fit in, but had a good demeanor. There are also many people from the Tiger Gang and the Lu family, Yan Jiliang replied. The Tiger Gang is different from the Yan, Zhang, Bai and Lu families. They are not a local force in Yingzhou, but a union of dozens of monks from other places. They are similar to gangs in the secular world. The monks and the gang call each other brothers. It is a force that has risen in Yingzhou in recent years. It is worth mentioning that the Black Mountain city lost by the Yan family was taken away by the Tiger Gang. Soon, Yan Jiliang and the others were taken to an exceptionally gorgeous building. At this time, there were already many people in the main hall of the building. They were talking to each other, and when they saw new people coming, they diverted their attention. Master Yan, fellow Taoist Yan, I'm sorry for not welcoming you. Zhang family master Zhang Kaiming stepped aside and walked towards the guest with a smile on his face. Master Zhang, Yan Jiliang and the others also clasped their fists in return. Looking around, there were quite a few people here. Master Bai Ying of the Bai family, Bai Yinglong and Qin Feng, 2 alchemists of the Bai family, Master Lu Jingquan of the Lu family, Lu Fuqi, an alchemist of the Lu family, Duan Jun, the leader of the Tiger Gang, Zhao Si, the 3rd leader, and the only middle-aged man sitting and drinking tea, Li Xiangxiao, the governor of Yingzhou. All the high-level figures of Yingzhou gathered in this room. The Yan family was the last to arrive. After all, Beatty City was the farthest away from here. Although the other forces were hesitant at first, they heard that even the Zhang family's mortal enemy, the Yan family, had set out, so they naturally ran over. After a few polite words from the top figures, Zhang Kaiming suddenly asked, "Master Yan, why didn't you see the other alchemists of your family?" Yan Jilian smiled and replied, "They are afraid that the Zhang family will set a trap. They are hiding and let us two old guys take a look first." Yan Jilian did not play tricks with the other party and told the truth directly. After this was said, the master of the Zhang family had not yet responded, but the senior leaders of several other forces were secretly cursing. "It's bad. My Bai family has really brought all our wealth here. If the Zhang family really has bad intentions, won't they be wiped out in one fell swoop? What a good Yan family." I thought they had really reached an agreement with the Zhang family when I saw the whole family was out. I had to bring several young people from the Lu family to see the world. Who knew that the Yan family still had a trick up their sleeve? I thought the whole Yan family was out. Even if the Zhang family wanted to have a big bite, they would first pick the Yan family. But the Yan family suddenly only sent 2 old bachelors. I wonder if the Zhang family will target my Tiger clan, the head of the Bai family, the head of the Lu family, and the head of the Tiger clan. The 3 of them were complaining bitterly. They secretly hated that their family had not learned the Yan family's testing method. The atmosphere was a little frozen. "Since everyone is here, let's reassure everyone first." Suddenly, an old and heavy voice came from outside the hall. Zhang Zhangai, the elder of the Zhang family, and Zhang Kezhao, the master of alchemy of the Zhang family, entered the hall one after another. Senior Zhang, as the most senior person among the crowd, Zhang Zhangai was naturally respected on the surface. Even the Lord of Yingzhou straightened up a little. "I know that you are worried that this is a Hongmen banquet, and that the remaining formula of the foundation building pill is fake, and that the Zhang family really wants to annex the various tribes, so I have brought the remaining formula." Zhang Zhangai glanced at the 2 people from the Yan family, and stretched out his hand to Zhang Kezhao beside him and said, "Kezhao, take out that object." "Yes." Then, a piece of animal skin appeared out of thin air in Zhang Kezhao's hand. Everyone's eyes were attracted by it. From the stripes on the animal skin, it can be seen that it is a tiger skin. The magical thing is that even if it has not been nourished by flesh and blood for an unknown period of time, the hair of this tiger skin is still full of luster, and it exudes a faint pressure and a breath of rules. The skin of a giant-level monster. The people present had good eyesight, and when this thing came out, someone exclaimed, "Even if it's just a piece of skin, the spiritual energy on it is enough to make people feel uneasy." This demon beast is at least in the middle stage of the golden core realm or above. At this time, because of the appearance of the animal skin, the various forces have already believed 90% of the existence of the residual formula of the foundation building pill. Unlike the others who were shocked and stunned, Yan Jilian remained calm. He glanced at the governor of Yingzhou and saw that the other party was still calm. He thought to himself, "Sure enough, the governor has contacted the Zhang family." Zhang Zhangai took the animal skin, but he did not open it immediately to show the contents on it. Instead, he covered it with both hands and said faintly, "This animal skin records the residual formula of the foundation building pill. This was given to me by a golden core realm cultivator after the 8th generation of my Zhang family rescued him 200 years ago. In the past 200 years, my Zhang family has worked hard to research the complete recipe from it, but it has not been realized." At this point, the top leaders of each family were secretly afraid. Fortunately, the Zhang family is not good at alchemy. If they really researched the complete recipe, the other forces would have become vassals of the Zhang family long ago. Zhang Zhangai continued, "We could have continued to study until we cracked it, but last week, we were horrified to find that the writing on the animal skin was slowly fading. According to my calculations, within a month, the writing will completely disappear, and the remaining formula of the foundation building pill will disappear. We wanted to make a copy of the recipe, but we couldn't record it. This foundation building recipe is like a mysterious power, and can only be carried by specially prepared golden pill level animal skins. That's why our Zhang family is willing to take it out and want to gather everyone's strength to crack the remaining formula." After Zhang Zhangai finished speaking, everyone suddenly realized that the biggest question in their hearts was solved. The question is, why did the Zhang family willingly share the remaining formula of the foundation building pill? It turned out that it couldn't be cracked, and the recipe was about to disappear. 200 years of hard work was about to be in vain, and the Zhang family began to worry. Yan Jiliang and Yan Jidao on the side looked at each other and felt fortunate. Fortunately, they came, otherwise they would have missed the recipe of the foundation building pill. Chapter 21, Tripartite Contract, Bloodline Curse. The main hall of the Zhang family in Peking. Zhang Zhangai, the elder of the Zhang family, took in everyone's reactions and felt helpless. In fact, if the matter of the residual recipe really needs to be delayed, it can be delayed. Although it cannot be copied or excerpted, it can be passed on by word of mouth through memory. However, there is no physical record. If you rely on memory alone, if you make a slight mistake, then the residual recipe will be truly lost. Moreover, studying the residual recipe is too time-consuming and laborious. For 200 years, several generations have invested tens of thousands of spiritual stones. Even if the Zhang family is the largest force in Yingzhou, it cannot afford such consumption. More importantly, the mortal enemy Yan family is rising rapidly. There are 16 new generation cultivators in the Yan family, and there are many talented people, including the two beauties of the Yan family, the magic canon Yan Lingyu and the alchemist Ling Qing. Recently, it is heard that they will also train a talisman maker. It can be said that the network is prosperous and the younger generation is formidable. However, the Zhang family is completely the opposite. There are only 6 people with spiritual roots in the same generation, and their qualifications are mediocre. Only one person barely achieved something. There is an obvious generation gap in the Zhang family. Even the Bai and Lu families are better than the Zhang family. It is foreseeable that after a few decades, the elders of the two families will pass away one after another. At that time, the Yan family will definitely overwhelm the Zhang family with its powerful new generation. Zhang Zhangai has to be anxious. This foundation building pill recipe is the life-saving straw for the Zhang family. As long as they get it, the cultivators of the Zhang family who are stuck in the 9th level of key training can use it to build a foundation and prolong their lifespan. With the help of the foundation building cultivators, they can survive this depressed generation. Let the Zhang family be glorious again. Zhang Zhangai's eyes flashed with a sharpness. Then there is no time to lose, let's start studying it immediately. The leader of the tiger gang touched his bald head, laughed, and said aloud. Don't worry, there is a more important thing before that, Zhang Zhangai said. At the same time, he took out a dozen white papers similar to talismans from his sleeves. 3-party contract, the head of the Bai family shouted, his face became bad. The 3-party contract is a contract talisman, which functions similarly to the oath of the heavenly Dao. The 3 parties refer to the 2 parties who agreed to the contract and the heavenly Dao. If one party violates the contract, it will be punished by heaven and earth, which is also the most taboo for cultivators. Therefore, once the 3-party contract is established, it must be abided by. As for why the heavenly Dao oath is not used, it is because the person who makes the heavenly Dao oath must be consistent in words and heart, while the 3-party contract is just black and white on paper. After taking out the 3-party contract, Zhang Zhangai chuckled and said, after all, this foundation building pill residue belongs to my Zhang family. If you want to share it, you must follow the rules of my Zhang family. The greed in the eyes of the head of the Lu family was suppressed, and he responded. What the elder Zhang said makes sense, then what are the rules? Can you explain it clearly? Since a 3-party contract is to be established, the contract description must be rigorous. Otherwise, after the contract is completed, it will be found that the Zhang family has dug a trap inside, and it will only be too late to regret and be manipulated by others. Zhang Zhangai nodded solemnly. The rules are very simple. First, all the discoveries about the residual formula during this joint research must be reported to my Zhang family without compensation and without reservation. Second, my Zhang family can provide some experience in exchange, and the cost of researching the pill in the future will be paid by the 4 of you. Third, the research site can only be in the Zhang family, and no information can be leaked to the outside. Fourth, if the pill recipe fails to be improved this time, all participants must permanently seal the relevant memories. Zhang Zhangai understood that the people in front of him were very scheming, especially the 2 from the Yan family. If he really played tricks, it would be counterproductive. It is better to treat them sincerely. He believes that there are no eternal enemies, only absolute interests. In the face of such huge interests, people will definitely try their best. The conditions were given, and the various forces fell into contemplation again. The contract rules given by the Zhang family have no loopholes, and they are also easy to abide by, and there is no reason to refuse. What is the punishment for violation? The head of the Bai family asked tentatively. Zhang Zhangai narrowed his eyes, snorted, and said ruthlessly, if anyone disobeys, they will be cursed by the bloodline. Bloodline curse? Several families were shocked. The bloodline curse is a curse of heaven. The cultivators who suffer from this curse will not only be abnormally weak, but will soon die. Moreover, with a host as the source, the bloodline relatives of the 2 generations above and below will gradually show the same symptoms. For example, if Yan Lingyu is cursed, then Yan Lingchen, who has the same grandfather, will also be cursed. The bloodline curse may not have much impact on large families with more than 10 generations living together. But for a small family like the Yan family, which has only 5 generations in total, it is a disaster. No wonder the heads of several families looked embarrassed. The head of the Lu family said angrily, Senior Zhang, your punishment is a bit too much, right? Zhang Zhangai said faintly, too much? Some people present are willing to sacrifice their lives and are extraordinary and brave. Everyone looked at the 2 people of the Yan family silently, and they understood more or less. Indeed, for a family, personal oaths are sometimes not as useful as this kind of family spell. Some families have diehards who are not afraid of death at all. Ordinary spells have the risk of being forcibly abandoned in the face of family interests. The Zhang family did this to reduce the possibility of themselves making wedding clothes for others. Even so, the horror of the blood curse is deeply rooted in the hearts of the people, and the heads of several families still cannot agree with it at the first time. At this time, a light cough came. It was the Lord of Yingzhou. I think this is good, what do you think? After saying that, the pressure of the mana of the late foundation building made the heads of several families breathless. Yan Zhiliang secretly glanced at the kind appearance of the Lord of Yingzhou, and thought to himself, I am afraid that the alchemists in the Lord's hands have all been invested in perfecting the pill formula. They fell into this vortex and could not get out. They can only force us to go into the water to minimize the losses. Enemy with the Lord of the State is different from enemy with the Zhang family. The Lord of the State is a man of Dekian, and he has an army of cultivators. If they really displease the other party, they will be unable to move even in their own territory. It is right to establish the bloodline curse, since the Lord of the State has said so. How dare we disobey? The Lord of Yingzhao's secret coercion made the heads of the families helpless. They knew that they had to sign it today. Yan Jidao and Yan Jilian looked at each other and could only grit their teeth. After the 2 confirmed that the contract was correct, they signed the 3-party contract one after another. In an instant, they felt a piercing cold current sweeping through their bodies, and the blood in their bodies seemed to solidify. Their heartbeats became rapid, and their true energy could not be controlled and ran wild. They had a feeling that if they violated the contract, they would become sinners of the family. An invisible sense of oppression was imposed on the 2. This shows the treacherous and cruel nature of the bloodline curse. As the heads of the family signed the contracts one after another, Zhang Zhangai suddenly looked at Yan Jiliang again, and said with a cold look, I heard that there is more than one alchemist in the Yan family, Yan Jidao, and there are 2 talented alchemists in the family. What? Is the head of the Yan family not going to do his best? Yan Jilian thought about it in his mind, patted the shoulder of the 5th brother Yan Jidao and said, 5th brother, go outside and bring Lingyu Linking and others in, and tell the elder Liu everything that happened here. Let her think about it again. Yan Jidao nodded, then walked outside and went straight to Tongfuan where the Yan family's power was located. The explanation of the blood curse has been changed, and the details can be seen in the book review. The author works during the day and writes at night. It is true that some settings are not well considered, but I promise to correct them if there are any mistakes. If it has a bad impact on reading, please forgive me, readers. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 System arrives, eliminates curse. After leaving the Zhang family mansion, Yan Jidao found the clan members and explained the situation. After listening to the elderly Yuxi, he looked at the clan members beside him and said solemnly, since the Zhang family really has the remaining formula of the foundation building pill, there will be no conflict between the 2 families in the short term. Everyone should work hard to perfect the recipe. This is also a good thing for my Yan family. Then, she paused, her voice sank, and added, if it really succeeds, You still have to be careful of the Zhang family's strategy of killing the donkey after it has done its work. Be flexible and protect yourself. Yes, Elder Liu, the 4 alchemists responded. The 4 people are Yan Lingyu, Yan Lingyu, Yan Jidao, and Sumo. Sumo joined the Yan family 40 years ago and became a guest alchemist. Now he has reached the 6th level of key training and is one step away from becoming a master of alchemy. Although Sumo's wife is not from the Yan family, his children Su Ruoxu and married into the Yan family. In addition, because he was saved by Liu Yuxi in his early years, he is naturally loyal to the Yan family. Entering the Zhang family courtyard, the scenery in front of him made Yan Lingyu a little dazed. He had been to the Zhang family's ancestral home in his previous life. At that time, he was still the #1 person in Yingzhou. Even the then Yingzhou governor was not as good as him. In addition, the Yan family was in its heyday at that time. He was invited to the Zhang family. The whole family had to come out to receive him. Even if they hated him to the core, they had to smile. Now he came again. Except for the unchanged environment, everything else in the Zhang family had changed. In particular, the attitude of the Zhang family towards him seemed to be superior to others and pointed at others with their noses. Even the Bai and Lu families were only afraid, but less afraid than before. I didn't do it lightly in my last life, he chuckled. I will completely destroy you in this life. Yingzhou must be completely in the hands of the Yan family. I will be relieved in my reincarnation. Yan Lingyu's eyes were cold. I'm sorry, fellow Taoists, I'm late. In the Zhang family hall, Yan Jiliang said with a fist after the Yan family's alchemists arrived. The heads of the other families also set their sights on the visitors, especially a gentle young man from the Yan family. Zhang Zhangai looked at the junior, his heart sank, and he thought to himself, this junior has an extraordinary appearance and extraordinary posture. In addition, he is an alchemist. He will definitely be an obstacle to my Zhang family in the future. We must eliminate him as soon as possible. He turned his eyes to another junior of the Yan family, and this time he laughed secretly. Sure enough, this boy is a cover. Seeing his depressed face, his 6 spirits are lost, his eyes are erratic, and he looks down on everyone. He must be such an ordinary person. There is no need to worry too much. Withdrawing his vision from Yan Lingyu, Zhang Zhangai no longer paid attention to him, but ordered the alchemist of the Yan family to sign a 3-party contract. At this time, he was completely sure that the genius that the Yan family wanted to hide was really Yan Lingyu. Several family heads present paid more attention to Yan Lingyu, and disdained Yan Lingyu. Except for Yan Jiliang, the head of the Yan family. But his thoughts were no less than those of the others. Is this guy really Lingyu? He looks sluggish and has a sense of decadence. He is completely different from the person who was in court in the Yan family meeting room before. Yan Jiliang, who was calm and steady, was amazed by the sudden change in Yan Lingyu's temperament. He believed that he could not have the talent to control his emotions. Then came relief and comfort. In Yan Jiliang's view, even without the foundation-building pill formula, the Yan family was prosperous because of the younger generation in front of him. At the same time, this old man who had no hope of breaking through and whose life was coming to an end, secretly made up his mind that he would protect Yan Lingyu even if he died. As for Yan Lingyu, he was the calmest person in the room. Nguyen glanced at his 3rd brother Yan Lingyu and sighed. Lingyu, it's not that I, the ancestor, want you to attract attention. I'm worried that Zhang Zhangai will see something. After all, he has seen my true body in my previous life. Then, Yan Lingyu also began to sign the 3-party contract. As the handprint was pressed, he suddenly felt a biting cold wind surrounding him, as if the heavenly Dao was watching him from an infinite distance. Suddenly, a mechanical sound rang in his ears. The Suizhe Chunchu system has detected an abnormality and is investigating. The bloodline curse affects the host Yan Lingyu's descendants and is contrary to this system. The influence is being cleared. The influence of the bloodline curse has been cleared. Then a cool feeling spread throughout Yan Lingyu's body. In an instant, all the discomfort was purified, and the feeling of being remembered by the heavenly Dao disappeared without a trace. What? The system has removed the bloodline curse from me. Yan Lingyu was shocked to find that he had changed, and at the same time tried to restrain his emotions so that others would not notice anything unusual. Then, he glanced at Zhang Zhangai in front of him, who was holding the 3-party contract in his hand, and sneered in his pride. The 3-party contract did not change due to the intervention of the system. It was still the same as when it was signed just now. emitting a fluorescent green glow, indicating that the contract was completed. At this moment, Yan Lingyu was sure that he had gotten rid of the blood curse, and no outsiders knew about it. I declare that the system is the most invincible. What heavenly way, what blood oath, all have to give way to my system. Yan Lingyu's heart was filled with joy. Moreover, he thought spontaneously. The blood curse was directly killed by the Suizei Chunkyu system because it would affect Yan Lingyu's descendants. Then, would other oath spells that affect the descendants of the family also be cleared by the system response? If so, it means that the relevant oaths can be made at will, regardless of the consequences. Because the heavenly oath and contract cannot be reversed by anyone, they can be used to win the trust of others. For example, two mortal enemies shook hands and made peace one day, vowing not to fight again, but one of them was not affected by the oath and could kill again. The other party was afraid to act because of the oath. The result can be foreseen that the party restricted by the oath will definitely focus. This is the benefit of being able to avoid the oath curse. Yan Lingyu's heart was dark. He believes that he is not a good person, or rather, in this world of immortal cultivation where the strong prey on the weak, good people don't live long. Therefore, he will make the best use of this means to circumvent the influence of the oath and make as much profit as possible from it. For example, now, no matter how kind the Zhang family was when they took out the incomplete formula of the foundation building pill, he was unwilling to let Yan Lingyu share it after researching the complete formula. Good things like the foundation building pill formula should be enjoyed alone. Now with the help of the system, Yan Lingyu is not affected by the blood curse, which means that if he finds out the complete formula, he can keep it privately. Even if he researches the formula first, he can hinder the research of other alchemists and make the foundation building pill formula belong to the Yan family alone. Fortunately, because of the previous concealment and preparation, the other family forces did not focus on me. In this way, if there is anything unusual when I am exploring the pill formula, it will not be easily detected. The next task is to try every possible way to perfect the foundation building pill formula. This matter is left to the alchemy talent of excellent. Yan Lingyu remained calm and murmured in his heart. Chapter 23. The remaining prescription is missing the main ingredient, and it is difficult to repair and improve it. Everyone moved to the Zhang family alchemy pavilion. Zhang Zhangai activated all the forbidden formations in the alchemy pavilion, and then, under the gaze of everyone, he slowly unfolded the tiger skin scroll with the incomplete recipe of the foundation building pill. A dazzling golden light flashed, as if opening a door to an unknown behind. The alchemists of each family finally saw the true face of the pill recipe. Yan Lingyu looked closely and saw that the unfolded scroll was not big, floating in the air, with many trickling small characters arranged on it. These small characters emitted a white light that made people unable to move their eyes away. Xian Kinkyo, 2 cents, Pink Fangayurong fruit, 1, silver bamboo, 1 inch, purple gold Changming wood, 3 cents. The small characters were magical, as if they had spirits, and could sense the side of others. Wherever they looked, the small characters would automatically grow larger for reference. Soon, everyone frowned and found out where the incomplete recipe was. It turned out that for some reason, the upper right corner of the tiger skin was missing a piece, and by chance, the refining materials were written on this corner. Because it was written from right to left, and judging from the order of the small characters, the missing ingredient was the main ingredient that was at the front. In an instant, sighs rang out in the hall. Several alchemists finally understood why the Zhang family spent 200 years of hard work and still could not complete the remaining recipe. It was too difficult to perfect the foundation building recipe with this remaining recipe. In this world, the number of natural materials and treasures can be counted in tens of millions. To find the missing ingredient among so many spiritual materials is as difficult as finding a needle in a haystack. Alchemy is a cost-effective process. If one furnace is wasted, that means the loss of a furnace of spiritual stones. Therefore, it is impossible to try them one by one. If you want to specialize in a complete recipe and make up all the spiritual medicines, you can only start from the pharmacology aspect. For example, Xian Kinkyo has the effect of promoting blood circulation and strengthening tendons. It has a mild medicinal property, is neutral and not bitter, and can enhance human fitness in a short period of time, similar to a stimulant. Why is it included in the recipe of the foundation building pill? This is also easy to understand. When a cultivator builds a foundation, he must concentrate his mind and undergo the impact of the infusion of true qi. If the body cannot support it, It is doomed to fail, so a body-protecting spiritual medicine such as Shian Kinkyo is needed. The medicinal properties of Shian Kinkyo conflict with the 16 spiritual materials such as the ground blue flower, and the two cannot be refined together, which can rule out the possibility that spiritual materials such as the ground blue flower are contained in the foundation building pill recipe. Shian Kinkyo and Zijin Cheng Minglu promote each other, making the medicinal effect appear to be 1 + 1 greater than 2, which is not difficult to explain why Zijin Cheng Mingmu is included in the pill recipe. Many spiritual materials are used as auxiliary medicines because of their auxiliary effects. Researching new pills or improving old pills is generally done step by step with the help of pharmacology. And then the pill recipe will be improved by trying to refine it. Several alchemists looked at each other and understood the severity of this task. Yanji said aloud, "I need to borrow the Zhang family's pharmacology books." Pharmacology books are books compiled by predecessors after they have studied various spiritual materials and classified the characteristics of spiritual materials. There are many pharmacology books circulating in the world, which complement each other, such as Compendium of Materia Medica, 100 Gold Mirror, 1000 Waters, etc. As a Kigan cultivator, his memory is not as good as photographic memory, and many pharmacology knowledge can only be looked up in the books. Accurate, Zhang Zhangai agreed. Then several members of the Zhang family brought books down from the attic. A group of alchemists wiped the sweat from their foreheads and began to study the remaining formula. 3 days later, there was still no progress on the foundation building pill formula. In the main hall of the Zhang family's alchemy hall, only Zhang Zhangai stood alone. Because the deduction of the pill formula is extremely laborious and easily affected by external objects, the Zhang family prepared an alchemy room for each alchemist so that they can concentrate on studying the pill formula without distraction. There are also large alchemy rooms for multiple people to discuss. Of course, in order to prevent the alchemists from making unnecessary small movements, there are naturally Zhang family monks watching on the side. At this time, Zhang Zhangai's face showed no emotion. He understood that it was just the beginning, and these alchemists were still in the stage of studying basic pharmacology. It was impossible for anyone to study it quickly unless the god of alchemy was reincarnated. The old man looked at one of the alchemy rooms, and the alchemist in it was Yan Lingyu from the Yan family. In the eyes of the former, this kid was the most likely to complete the task on this trip, despite his young age. Alchemy, or the 100 arts of cultivation including practice, ultimately pays attention to talent. There were a total of 11 alchemists present, 1 each from the Bai family and the Lu family, 2 from the Tiger gang, 1 alchemy master and 1 alchemist from the Zhang family, 2 state masters, and 3 from the Yan family. In Zhang Zhangai's opinion, Yan Lingyu was just to make up the number. Anyway, the consumables were provided by the Yan family, and the Zhang family just played with the Yan family. Among them, only Yan Lingyu and Zhang Kizao were able to gather and form for the first time. The rest of the alchemists gradually became alchemists through years of exploration. Therefore, these 2 people have the highest talent. People with talent are smart and adaptable to the mystery. They have an innate sensitivity to alchemy and spiritual materials. Maybe they can be favored by heaven and find the correct solution to the pill. Zhang Kizao has been studying for 80 years and has made no progress. He can only put his hope on Yan Lingyu. Therefore, the Zhang family members who monitor Yan Lingyu are the most. In the Binger alchemy room, Yan Lingyu frowned and looked haggard. 3 days and 3 nights of continuous research and deduction made him physically and mentally exhausted. But Yan Lingyu still gritted his teeth and persisted. In the sea of consciousness, various spiritual materials flickered and changed. He understood the importance of the foundation building pill to the entire Yan family. Not only that, he also had a dream of building a foundation. He was not qualified, and he could only rely on the foundation building pill to build a foundation. The family has a limited amount of foundation building pills, and they can only be supplied to those with great hopes. If Yan Lingyu wants to get the foundation building pills, he has to find a way. It's too difficult, too difficult. I have to lay out the pharmacology of all the spiritual materials, remove those with conflicting medicinal properties, and then select those with overlapping medicinal properties. After selecting layer by layer, there are still nearly 200,000 spiritual materials that seem to fit. It seems that each of these spiritual materials can be used as the main medicine. How is this possible? 8 desolate wood, fantasy coral flower, glazed green river soil, mysterious ice, farewell Nansu. I have a feeling that the main medicine is among these few things, but which one is it? I must have overlooked something. I will find a way to filter out a few flavors and reduce the cost of the trial and refinement later. There is still time, Lingyu, don't worry, you can do it, Yan Lingyu pondered and encouraged himself. He was so focused that he didn't even touch the spiritual food sent by the Zhang family. His lips were slightly dry, and only a pair of black eyes were piercing. On the other side, in the alchemy room of Bingxi, Yan Lingyu, with the attitude of people are iron and rice is steel, took 2 mouthfuls of spiritual rice into his mouth, and his behavior was unrestrained. The Zhang family members beside him saw this, with a hint of disdain in their eyes. After chewing gently, the spiritual rice was swallowed, and a rich fragrance flowed along Yan Lingyu's esophagus and permeated his body. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration came to his mind. He entered into meditation silently, trying to grasp the sudden inspiration. Chapter 24, Spiritual Energy Infused into the Body, the recipe for the elixir is obtained. Bingxi Alchemy Room. Yan Lingyu put down the bowl and chopsticks in his hand, sat cross-legged, and looked inward at the sea of consciousness, where there was the residual recipe that he had imprinted with his memory. Just now, the feeling of the spiritual rice melting reminded him of the spiritual energy infusion. As we all know, the spiritual energy infusion is a life and death step that a cultivator must go through when breaking through the foundation. Yan Lingyu, who was a foundation-building cultivator in his previous life, was naturally impressed by this process. The turbulent flow of true energy began to rush down from the star point on the top of the head, passing through more than a dozen acupoints such as Xiantu Point, Zuanji Point, Tanshuang Point, Shenk Point, and Shimen Point, and directly reached the Danshan. It was as if a sharp blade was about to split the human body in half. But as long as you can hold on through this most painful stage, the majestic true energy will start from the Danshan again, dissipate to the end of the body, and begin to nourish the body, make up for the defects, and help the cultivator transcend the mundane. Yan Lingyu still remembers the feeling of pleasure when all the pores were groaning. However, this process is not something that every foundation-building cultivator can experience. Only those who break through by themselves, without the help of foundation-building pills, can undergo the complete baptism of spiritual energy infusion. Yan Lingyu's previous life, started from scratch and had no resources. He could only hold the idea that he was a time traveler who could be favored by heaven, and forcibly break through the foundation-building stage, and succeeded by chance, thus creating the Yan family. This experience is unique to him. Because whether it is Zhang Zhangai of the Zhang family, the foundation-building cultivators of the Bai and Lu families, or Liu Yuxi, they all completed the foundation with the help of foundation-building pills. In the previous life, Yan Lingyu also learned from several friends that the spiritual energy infusion with the help of foundation-building pills was not as painful as imagined, but only the last refreshing part, except for failure. By comparing the two, we can find out what is missing from the residual formula of the foundation-building pill. Yes, it is analgesia. The feeling of spiritual energy infusion and the cracking of the head is too torturous. Except for those with a tough mind, ordinary people can hardly bear it. The body will try to interrupt this process or go into shock directly for self-protection. This is also the main reason for the failure of foundation building and death. As long as the pain is removed, in fact, building the foundation becomes much easier, which is also the embodiment of the effectiveness of the foundation building pill. Now, Yan Lingyu also understands why several generations of the Zhang family have not been able to deduce the complete foundation building pill formula for 200 years. Because they don't know the real situation of the spiritual energy filing the body, and don't understand the pain, so they won't think about pain relief. This is a process of chicken before egg. Only those who complete the foundation alone can develop a foundation building pill. Therefore, among all the alchemists summoned by the Zhang family this time, except Yan Lingyu, it is impossible for anyone to find the main medicine. Of course, in order to create a foundation building pill, you can't just pay attention to pain relief, but also integrate the characteristics of other spiritual materials. But the trees of the predecessors have been planted, and there is a residual recipe for the foundation building pill. At this time, Yan Lingyu only needs to explore which pain-relieving spiritual material it is. After figuring this out, the complete foundation building pill recipe is at your fingertips. Yan Lingyu was determined in his heart, suppressing his joy. He couldn't let the people of the Zhang family see the change. After the silence, He pretended to eat 2 mouthfuls of spiritual food, and then searched aimlessly in various spiritual material books. Yan Lingyu was not in a hurry to look directly at the pain-relieving spiritual material. A purposeful action would easily arouse suspicion from others and even remind other alchemists. Another 3 days passed. Yan Lingyu woke up from meditation, and a barely perceptible gleam flashed in his eyes. The painstaking reading of the classics in the past few days finally paid off. The foundation building pill formula has been perfected. There are not many spiritual materials with analgesic effects. After the pharmacological screening with other auxiliary medicines, most of the unsuitable ones can be removed. Finally, those high-level natural treasures are subtracted, and the main medicine that meets the requirements is easy to obtain. 4 Cs wood, 10,000 abyss wood. He is sure that one of these 2 spiritual materials with equivalent effects must be the missing main medicine for the foundation building pill. Yan Lingyu hopes that the main medicine is 4 Cs wood, because 4 Cs wood is relatively easier to obtain. Very good. After that, we will go back to the family and do some simple refining to determine which one it is. Then we can confirm the dosage and the foundation building pill will definitely be refined. With a plan in mind, he began to think about the next plan. 2 days later, the Bingxi alchemy room was opened, and Yan Lingyu walked out of it, with an extraordinary confident look in a breeze. He walked towards the giant alchemy room, where the Zhang family's alchemy master Zhang Kezhao was. Zhang Kezhao looked disheveled at this time, and he really didn't look like a Kigan cultivator. When he saw the former coming, he narrowed his eyes and said, "What advice do you have, little friend Yan?" As an alchemy master, and at the same time personally exposed to the residual formula of the foundation building pill for decades, Zhang Kezhao was often visited by several other alchemists to learn from their experience. "Master Zhang, I have deduced that the main ingredient is most likely the powder of 7-color langan. This spiritual material has a mild medicinal property and can relax the tendons and veins, allowing the internal qi to flow better. At the same time, it is secretly compatible with the other 6 auxiliary medicines. I am not sure of the dosage yet. I am not familiar with the alchemy techniques. I hope Master Zhang can help." Yan Lingyu's words were full of sincerity and pride. However, Zhang Kezhao sneered, 7-color langan? How is it possible? Although this spiritual material is compatible with the 6 auxiliary medicines such as Xian Qinkao, it will contaminate the Pingfengai Rongguo after being ground into powder. It is impossible to be the main ingredient of the foundation building pill. Young friend Yan is still young, so you should study and practice more. When Yan Lingyu heard this, his shame and anger were beyond words, and he turned around and left angrily. Zhang Kezhao saw the other party leaving, and his smile became even bigger. Before, there were rumors that Yan Lingyu had the appearance of an alchemy master. Although no one confirmed it, the doubts also doubled the pressure on this alchemy master. But his rather unsatisfactory remarks today completely dispelled Zhang Kezhao's worries. In his opinion, Yan Lingyu's alchemy level was too mediocre. In comparison, Yan Lingyu, another alchemist of the Yan family, was worthy of attention. Yan Lingyu had also approached Zhang Kezhao to discuss the recipe. The former's unique insights have repeatedly enlightened Zhang Kezhao and made new progress in perfecting the foundation building pill. What the clan elder said is indeed correct. This Yan Lingyu is a cover launched by the Yan family. The real genius is Yan Lingyu, Zhang Kezhao thought to himself. Then he called a member of the Zhang family and said, "Tell the clan elder that Yan Lingyu is a fake and there is no need to pay attention to him. Send more people to monitor Yan Lingyu. He is very likely to come up with a recipe for the foundation building pill to prevent the Yan family from operating secretly." Coming out of the second alchemy room, Yan Lingyu still had anger on his face, but his heart was very calm. The recipe for the foundation building pill was completed, but he was still in the Zhang family and could not leave in a dangerous environment. Yan Lingyu must avoid attracting other people's attention and suspicion and spend the remaining 20 days safely. So he chose to show weakness to the enemy and reduce the Zhang family's attention to him again. The effect was also very significant. The disdain in Zhang Kezhao's eyes showed that he had been affected. The words of an alchemy master would still blur Zhang Lingyu's judgment. As long as he continued to play badly and confuse the vision, he should not have to worry about being discovered as he had already researched a complete recipe. Chapter 25, Playing Badly with Yan Lingyu, Zhuangxi Shumianju. Zhang Family's Secret Pavilion. After waiting for a few days to see the results of the alchemy, Zhang Lingy left first. After all, the huge Zhang family still had many other matters that needed his attention. Sitting upright on a wooden chair, he gently put down the file in his hand and turned his eyes to the two senior members of the Zhang family in front of him. These two people stayed behind to monitor the deduction of the foundation building pill formula. One of them said respectfully, "Elder, the Bai family tried to refine it today, but failed. The possibility that the main medicine of the foundation building pill is to strengthen the body was ruled out. The Bai family has changed their thinking and worked with the Lu family to overcome the influence of the flow of true qi." The man continued, "The Tiger Gang has not made any progress at present, and the Lord of the State seems to have been preparing something, with spiritual materials constantly being imported and transported out. The Zhang family and the Lord of the State's mansion are in a cooperative relationship, and the two are not bound by a three-party contract." After listening, Zhang Zhangai waved his wrinkled hands and said, "Don't worry too much about the Lord of the State. If they really work out a complete foundation building pill formula, they will let us know. By the way, what's the situation with the Yan family?" He changed the subject. The Zhang family's senior officials replied, "From the classics Yan Jidao has read, he should think that the main medicine is related to enhancing the stability of true qi, and he has been exploring this aspect. Sumo, the guest of the Yan family, is similar to him, and I think the two have communicated. The specific results will depend on the subsequent trials of the two. All the actions of the alchemists are under the surveillance of the Zhang family. Even with the threat of the blood curse, the Zhang family is still worried about leaks. After all, the foundation building pill is too important to tolerate any negligence." "Well, and what about Yan Lingyu, who I asked you to take care of?" Zhang Zhangai asked again. Yan Lingyu used Baohuangmu and Zuanming Handing as the main medicines, and successfully refined 2 pills. The strong medicinal fragrance made people think that he had refined it, but after comparing it with the foundation building pills left in the family, the 2 pills were not foundation building pills, but a new type of pill, the Zhang family members said with a serious expression. After listening to this, Zhang Zhangai frowned. "This Yan Lingyu's talent in alchemy is indeed terrifying. I heard from Qi Zhao that the boy's alchemy level has improved by leaps and bounds in recent days. I think he has gained a lot from reading the spiritual materials books. If he continues like this, it is not impossible for him to become an alchemy master." Then, Zhang Zhangai's eyes became fierce, his expression became particularly cold, and he murmured, "This boy will definitely be a great harm to my Zhang family in the future. He must not be allowed to return to the Yan family. Now he is still needed in the research of foundation building pill formula. Once this matter is over, we must act immediately to eliminate the future troubles. The alchemy master of his Zhang family is already 90 years old, and there is no hope for foundation building. He has at most 20 years to live. And this kid of the Yan family is less than 30 years old. If he is allowed to become an alchemy master, he can serve the Yan family in alchemy for more than 80 years. The Zhang family cannot sit idly by." "Yes," after 2 members of the Zhang family responded, one of them said, "Compared with Yan Lingyu's behavior is very strange. He flips through the books in a disorganized manner, and it is impossible to tell what the other party is looking for. At the same time, this guy likes to run around everywhere, and his reaction to Yan Lingyu is also very abnormal. According to the clan members, Yan Lingyu seems to want to stop Yan Lingyu from refining the elixir. Not only that, Yan Lingyu also likes to go to Zhang Qizao's alchemy room." Zhang Zhangai's eyes lit up, and he called out softly, "Oh? Is this true?" He pondered for a moment, suddenly held his head and laughed. He said, "This Yan Lingyu really has a different mind towards the Yan family. Why is he flipping through the classics in a disorganized and unsystematic way? Because he doesn't know how to make pills, and his reputation is all made by the Yan family. Why does he deliberately stop Yan Lingyu from making pills? Because he is unwilling to become a scapegoat, and he is worried that Yan Lingyu will succeed in making pills and have a higher status. Why does he often interact with Qi Zhao? Because he has a grudge against the Yan family." Zhang Zhangai stood up and continued, "It seems that the time is ripe. The Zhang family can try to contact Yan Lingyu, win him over, and let him betray the Yan family." The 2 Zhang family members in front of the documents looked at each other. "Elders, what should we do?" The villain, "Naturally lure him with benefits. I have a Zhuangxi Shui Mianju here, and he will definitely not be able to refuse it." Zhang Zhangai was still concerned about Yan Lingyu's move. He had been sending people to observe the latter's actions and found that Yan Lingyu was asking about water-based exercises. Dharma, friends, wealth, and land. Exercises are particularly important for a cultivator. As for the Zhuangzi Shumengju, it is indeed a top-notch one-level technique. The heaven and earth Zhuangherong correspond to Yuanying, Jinden, foundation building, and key training respectively. It is easy to practice, and after it is fully developed, it can improve the cultivator's combat ability. Moreover, this technique is very complete, and even contains hints for the foundation building to break through the Jinden realm. Most one-level techniques only reach the late stage of foundation building, not to mention Jinden. It is difficult to even practice to the peak of foundation building. When the Zhang family first obtained the Zhuangzi Shumengju, they regarded it as a treasure, and half of the cultivators in the family practiced this technique. However, this technique has a big shortcoming, so the Zhang family had to put it aside. If you practice the Zhuangzi Shumengju, if you don't have a heaven-defying appearance, the progress of your cultivation in the early stage is too slow. There are no less than 20 people in the Zhang family who practice this technique, but none of these 20 people can reach the 8th level of key training. No matter how hard they practice, the speed at which they improve their cultivation can be described as a turtle's speed. Therefore, they can't even reach the foundation building. And these Zhang family members can only hold the fantasy of Jinden and die. In addition, the Zhuangzi Shumengju did not have a matching key training technique, resulting in the key training cultivators who practiced it having no combat power. In the end, the Zhang family banned any clan member from practicing this method. The dream of being very strong in the later stage and being able to enter the golden elixir was ultimately a mirage. However, it must be said that this technique is indeed bluffing at first glance. When the disadvantages are not known, no water cultivator will not be tempted. The Zhang family secretly sold rubbings and earned no less than 5,000 spirit stones, which shows its appeal. Therefore, Zhang Zhangai believes that Yan Lingyu will definitely want this thing. At the same time, he also does not believe that the arrogant junior can successfully build a foundation after switching to practice. This is equivalent to a risk-free bait. Yan Lingyu takes the bait, and the Zhang family earns a spy. Yan Lingyu only eats the bait, and the Zhang family does not lose, and it can also weaken the low-end combat power of the Yan family. Why not? On the other side, Bingxi Alchemy Room. Since finding the main medicine for the foundation building pill, Yan Lingyu has been practicing in secret and constantly playing badly. Later, he was worried that an alchemist would be lucky enough to create the foundation building pill formula. In order to prevent this from happening, he began to trip up the others, and the focus was naturally on his own clan brother Yan Lingyu. As for Zhang Kizao of the Zhang family, his thinking was completely wrong and there was no need to worry about him. While Yan Lingyu was thinking, he suddenly felt the light around him dim, and in an instant, he lost contact with the outside of the alchemy room. Did I reveal some flaws? Or did the Zhang family want to take action? Yan Lingyu was shocked. He looked stunned, and he pinched the magic formula with his hands to enter a combat state. Looking coldly at the Zhang family members in the room, he shouted, "What do you mean by this, Zhang family?" End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.